Um.
Yellow.
Hello. I need a second to set this up.
Yeah, thank you.
I need a browser. Which are we gonna see if I do this? Okay, that's doable. That's workable. Put this over here. And this over here. Um. How are you today, by the way?
I'm doing great, actually.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, really good day. It's the normal aches and pains, and that's about it today.
Yeah.
Nothing else crazy going on for once. Hello, Wags. Hello.
Okay. I just need to post about that we are going and stuff.
Yep.
I'm gonna do a second post on the server as well. And not gonna forget to hit enter. Okay. Let me open the thing.
Advertises in a couple places too.
Venus? Okay.
Venus? Yes, yes. That's my second favorite planet.
Oh God. Which is your first favorite? I can imagine, but I want to. Sure. And
Mars, because that's where all the doom happens.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Argent Energy is a pretty good cheat code.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So.
Right.
Okay, so to give a bit of an intro, hi folks, it's Tabletop Talk Time, the show where we talk about a role-playing game every other week, and we take turns saying which one we're going to do next. And I said, let's do Golden Sky Stories, and here we go. This is directly from Japan. It has been translated, of course. Yep. And you play a little creature, like a tiny mini god thing from that the Japanese have in Shintoism, where they believe that a lot of even animals and stuff can like take on a human form sometimes. And thus you become a little person here with the ears and the tail maybe and stuff like that.
Yep.
And it is how it starts here is so good. Like they literally just put 6 pages of manga pages in about like these people, what you might do, like how it might look in your game. What's the feeling basically of this? How it's supposed to, the vibe, if you will.
This is different from other games we reviewed in that they start with imagery rather than a story to set the tone.
Yep. This does have a lot of story in it as well, a lot of in-character storytelling. But in this game, it is entirely necessary, in my opinion, to set this up very quadruple. Yes, Gren, Tabletop Talk Time, indeed.
Yes, and before we continue, isn't this the second game that we reviewed that's been translated? The first one was Dark Eye.
Yes. Okay, translated in general, yes.
Translated in general, yeah. And this is the first game that we've reviewed that is intentionally supposed to be a cute game,
Yes.
which I believe should be its own category.
It's also our first diceless game. Spoiler
Yes.
alert. So there's a lot here. This is from this English version of 2006. I believe the Japanese version is a few years older.
The English version is 2013.
Oh, you're right. So this way around. Yeah. Not that old. When you read this, you get the immediate, okay, someone translated it and did their level best to leave the Japanese meanings in there.
Yep.
Because it is all about capturing those ways they like speak about, oh, please do this and that, please enjoy my game, and so on and so forth, because they're very, very polite, as we know, and that has been well translated.
Yes. There's a lot I can say about that, because we've talked about tone in games before with how people write, like how people, oh, I'm going to slip in a joke to completely undermine my point.
Yeah.
That we keep saying over and over, don't do that. This is the opposite. This is a case of something that, yeah, go ahead, do the things that they do here with the text flows.
This game is so quintessentially Japanese that you're kind of, it needed that to be a cohesive product. I also love this, just a side thing. This book was set in Fairfield and Capucine using Adobe InDesign CS5. Why we needed to know, I don't know, but thank you. I guess thank you, Adobe.
Yeah. We almost never see that.
A note on PDF piracy: it is possible that you obtained the PDF of Golden Sky Stories through less than legal means. While we don't at all condone the draconian action taken by many of the larger copyright holders against infringers, we work very hard on this, so we would greatly appreciate if you would consider making a purchase. Also, however you obtain this game, more than anything, we hope you'll be playing it with your friends. I will give you a little spoiler right now. This is kind of the correct way to go, but yes, you should purchase games. We're reviewing here. I have to show you a PDF. Yep. If I ever see this book somewhere, I'm just gonna buy it because I like the vibes.
Oh yeah, this is definitely one that if I saw it in a store, I'd pick it up, because this is something like people would look at your bookshelf, open it up, be like, "Oh, is this a manga?" And then be like, "Oh." So one of those things that's rare.
This author, the main artist who did the main illustrations, they're gonna go into detail about this. But they also made a manga, which is about basically the same thing. It's a little basically following a cat who can turn into a cat girl or into a normal girl, and then they have little adventures. But in any case, so this book is its table of contents is spring, summer, autumn, and winter, which is also very Japanese.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much.
Because you need all this to make a cohesive thing, which is the spring in this book sets you the tone and tells you what's going on. Summer is the rules. Autumn is for the narrator to understand what they have to do, and then winter is all the stat lines and like adventure information that you might need. And then the translators have a word at the end. There's a whole forward here. To sum this one up, this is supposed to be again a heartwarming game. Is what is the translation of this style of game in Japan, because they have a few of them. Just again, like, okay, you have to like manga art, but if you do, this is just really top of the line. Like, I like also look at this old lady. Look at her.
I know. I love her so much.
Like, there's cute cat girl and cute fox girl and cute, I don't know, maybe, and is this another fox? I don't know. But look at the old lady. Look at her. she's just this is just a vibe. Oh, Yaka, hey. Pets. Oh shit. We don't have a standard turn off the redeems. I'm gonna live with it for now. Your people can be well behaved and not redeem stuff that would interrupt the show. If you interrupt the show, I'm not going to honor it because you're being a dick. That's a good system, I think.
Yeah.
Regardless. So, then they give you a bit of cultural notes about the game, and about like where this game is coming from, just explaining a little bit more. And then they talk about gender for a second, which there's a specific reason. The reason being, this artist only drew girls for this one. All the character pictures and stuff are girls, and they're like quick to point out, now you can totally play like a boy if you want, it's fine. One of the conceits though is that these are underage in quotation mark characters, at least in their looks. This is a bit one of the niggly things that you might run into here. If you like the foxes in like mythical foxes, at least in Japanese folklore, they are very long lived. They're supposed to be hundreds of years old. So this girl is going to tell us later, I'm like 400, but yeah, I mean, that's the trope. We all know that trope, right? So to the book's credit, it doesn't really ever go into anything, but like it's very clear basically that you are supposed to portray any feelings, any stuff you have, like in a non-sexual way and in a like childish way, if possible at all. Kind of.
Yes, as wholesomely as possible. Honestly.
Yes, very, very wholesome. Yes, like we're gonna get into that in a minute. So anyway, but they again tells you, oh yeah, we got the illustrations we got, so everyone's a girl, but you can make a boy if you want. And Ike, this person, and they made the manga Nikomatsume Michi Kusaniki. I'm sorry I butchered that, which is a very cool manga, which you can find online. There is not a translation as far as I know, so finding it online is entirely up to you. It is a vibe to read. I recommend it. And woke me up and told me as he clocked it. That comment, hi. That is information I didn't need to know. Thank you. But yeah, let's get into this.
Jump into it.
You will have to endure some. I mean, I say endure, but there's like this stuff. There's actually haikus in this. I think this is a haiku. I'm not sure. Spring is the season of beginnings, the season of warm sleep, the season when dreams begin. Here we'll learn what kind of game Golden Sky Stories is, what you become, and what you do when you play it. What kind of being will take the stage. You will come to know these things here. Please read this part before your stories. Like, this is such Japanese translation, I can't even.
Yeah.
It is very weep, yeah.
I love it, and the art piece conveys spring too. There's just so much style in this.
Exactly.
Just,
Yep. And then we get into one of the most important characters in this game, which is actually the town. And that feels like one can read this out. In a certain town, only a single rail line passes through it. A 2-car train comes every hour and no more. In front of the station is a row of shops and not seen anywhere else. Many of the roads around the town are narrow, too small for cars to pass. Some of them are mere dirt paths, used by cats and rabbits more than people. You can see open fields here and there. The rice paddies outnumber the houses. If you look into the distance, you'll see only mountains and trees. Narrow rivers flow from mountains, form ponds, gathering into one big river. The water flows in, the water flows away. There are temples and shrines, empty and quiet. Bamboo groves filled with whispering wind. There are endless fields of pampas grass flower beds, fields of lotus flowers and clover. There are ponds with lotus flowers, footpaths with blooming emeralds, and stone walls sprouting morning glories. The mountains retain their caps of white snow even when things come to the town, even when spring comes to the town. The sky seems endless. At night there are no streetlights. Here the moon and the stars shine brightly on the town. There are only a handful of traffic lights in the town. The tallest building is a 3-story school. The town is full of sounds. The sounds of leaping fish, of playing children, of the mailman's motorcycle, of the print shop's spinning machines. There are the sounds of dogs, cats, birds, and insects. There are sounds of flowing water, blowing wind, and falling rain. Here, there are many things livelier than the people. Here, the other living things outnumber the people. This is the kind of town where you will create stories. Yeah, this is very evocative. This is also well translated, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Very well translated. And this speaks to something I've spoken about before multiple times. When you go and you write a setting, when you go and you write a story, when you go and write a tabletop system, the setting itself is a character in the room.
Oh, yeah, it has to be.
This is, I think, the first one, or maybe, well, okay, Game of Thrones technically also did this, but I'm not going to count that. This is the first one that well establishes, hey, this town you're in, this is a character, and even has a stat assigned to it, which we'll get into later.
It does, kind of. Okay. And now we get into who we are. In the game, we will play Hengay. Hengay, hen plus gay. which is actually a character you could make in this.
Yes.
And they are like spirits of animals that can take human form. And then there's a lot of setup about this. I can't read all of this out. It would kind of defeat the purpose. But they stress over and over. You are supposed to be like a tiny little helper spirit, basically, I would say it as. Yes. And that is kind of the same as we all have in our own cultures, where, for example, there is the Klabautermann in northern German folklore, which is just a little spirit that lives on boats. And if he comes out to show himself, then the boat is about to sink, so you better look for the fucking hole and stuff like that. That's more or less your role in this, like helping people with something. And it's very quaint and small, and it's supposed to be little problems in this, like the sample adventure they give you. No, the sample, like not the sample adventure that you're supposed to play, but one you're supposed to read for the vibes. It's about, oh, this boy's running away, and he runs across like two Hengay, and then they talk to him because they're new players. It's kind of that story very much feels like, oh, I didn't really think through that I should maybe not transform in front of this boy from an animal into a person, but I did it anyway. So he was startled, but then the game itself is like, you're supposed to like not make a big deal out of this so much, because the town kind of knows this stuff is real. Especially the old people. The adults don't believe it, but the old people still know, and the young people are kind of, it's children. If it can happen, there's wonder in their lives still. But anyway, the little boy runs into this Hengay and tells them, "Oh, I had a fight with my friend," and then the friend comes running in, and it turns out, well, they were holding hands because they're like a little boy and a little girl, and then some other children made fun of them, and then these Hengay just make them like, because she's angry that he ran away, because why did you run away? And then they just sort this out, and that's an adventure. It can be an adventure in this, and that's something you don't see often in role-playing games.
No, almost never now.
Yeah.
Like, the whole idea of we're dealing with small issues, we're dealing with small problems, we're dealing with things that involve people growing up, we're dealing with just stuff that we have so many coming-of-age stories written about, but we don't have many, like, role-playing games that really capture that.
Yeah, one of the things when I was looking around for like stories about this game online, this is a while ago, because I found this book, I don't know, some years ago, and while I was reading that manga actually, and one of the stories someone told was like, yeah, the longest adventure I ever ran was the Hengay was trying to get the ball back for a little boy. The ball would just keep rolling around, and then there would just be shenanigans all over the place.
I love that.
And you just follow the ball. Oh no, it rolled into the river, and now the river god is angry and it's going to punt it away again, and stuff like that. And that just big stupid run behind the ball as a dog, a cat, and what was the third? I think a bird. The bird was constantly looking for the ball and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's an adventure. You can make anything an adventure. Only people would be like it is a sign of true adulthood if you can make yourself play something like that without feeling silly, because many there's a time in our lives when we want to very much to be adults, and that for many people I think holds way too long. Mm-hmm. And then you can never enjoy stuff like this properly.
If you like Spirited Away and want to do a much more small scale version of that, where it doesn't involve your parents being transformed into pigs, then this is the way to go.
If you want to play Spirited Away with this, you could, but you would all be like little spirits that just work in the resort, basically.
Yep.
That could also work. Like, you can do different things with this. It is supposed to be set up for this town setting. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason you couldn't adapt this. The rules aren't exactly super complex, as we'll see. And the vibe is My Neighbor Totoro / other Ghibli movies and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Blah, blah, blah. They tell you here for the first time what you can be, but we're going to get into the proper pictures for that a bit later. Let's see. Then explains... Please go. No, go. You go first.
They introduce very quickly the idea that these are the equivalent of local gods. In other words, like Terry Pratchett put it as small gods. Mm-hmm. And there's so much you can do with that. You mentioned the German legend. You could do this with Russian domovoi. You could do this with any kind of Celtic fairy. There's just so much you could do with this. One, I brought this up. Forget who I was talking to. I think I was talking to Ad or Axion about this. I brought this up, and the response was, "Oh, well, that would be kind of cool if you had a situation where you could have a visiting fairy from somewhere else, and then that causes a situation. There's just so much you could do. Like, absolutely, this is very thought-provoking for me."
Yep. And so importantly, you aren't even playing as local god. So local god in this folklore, either is a kami indeed. Waggles has it right. But the difference is a kami Waggles has a shrine.
Yep.
The kami has a shrine or a place they're responsible for. So, for example, local gods would be kami, because any size god in Japan has a kami. Like a river god it cares about his river, and that's his domain.
And that's
the pond is the domain of the pond god, and if a fox henge had a shrine, which is actually a thing you can have in this game as an advantage, that you have a little shrine, then you are counting as a local god, and you can talk to other local gods as on their level.
Yep.
We get into that more, but yes, but a henge is just basically any spirit that does not have a it's not getting any worship or responsibility, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And this is why they are often animal spirits, as animals are carefree and don't care about that shit a lot, except for foxes. It also goes into detail what the narrator does, of course. You need one for this game, as you might expect. It also tells you, and these side boxes are the translator talking to you sometimes. In this case, Japanese games, apparently, I did not know this before, have a very authoritative look towards the DM, in that the DM is just basically, the DM says goes. You are not supposed to countermand your DM ever. And you are not supposed to question their rulings, which I would say is understandable in Japanese culture. I would not play it like this, though. And of course, the game has been translated faithfully, in that many things will say you must ask your DM if you can do X, Y, Z.
Yes.
But if you want to play it like differently, book says you totally can. Like, please. And then we come to who we can be. And this book has 6 kinds of Henge you can play. There's apparently other books that have more, and I'm unaware if they ever received a translation. However, it's not that hard to make something up. Yes, we will see. This is all, and this is a bit unusual. We have a 2-page splash of the fox talking about herself. How big she is, like how old she is, that her clothes really aren't out of date, even though they totally are, and stuff like that. And this is literally just setting you a scene about this fox spirit. There's no rules here. I'm not gonna read it all out because but like as an example, when she talks about her height, she uses the shaku, which is an archaic unit of measure from Japan, and the shaku is about 30 centimeters or 1 foot, but it's varied widely from place to place. So yeah. And then they talk about like which is this katakana? I forget what they are called here.
I don't remember.
That basically she's making a culture joke somewhere in here, and that this is how it is explained. And then you have the raccoon dog. You might remember these are those in folklore. The male ones of these have very big balls. Yes, tanukis, exactly. Yes. But this is a girl, so she does not have these. But yeah, she's very airheaded and only in law only 3 years old, but she turns into a 13-year-old kid when she transforms, which is like telling you, well, it doesn't matter what your form looks like and how old you are. You can look basically almost adult and still be a child at heart, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And she has glasses because the raccoon dog, Tanuki, has these circles around the eyes and so on and so forth. And no, she says she is pudgy, but not she's not pudgy. You shouldn't say that and so on. Is she though? I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of it's a fur, I think. And the third kind is a cat. You can be a cat. And you will notice as we go on, Tanuki and foxes had like actual powers. A lot of the powers of the cat and the later ones that we are going to get into is basically, yeah, you are a cat. You can do things that a cat could do. The cat is very aloof, of course. Like they're setting up very well how these characters kind of could be, but they also tell you they don't have to be. Mm-hmm. The dog, obviously very loyal to humans, likes humans. All dogs like humans. What's the pedigree? I don't know. Nothing to do with me. I get along well with some dogs and not so with others. Maybe my master has one. Maybe my master has a pedigree. Yeah. A little bit stupid maybe, but loyal and so on. Mm-hmm. And then the next one you can be a rabbit. They are very in this very Japanese folklore basically says they need attention, otherwise the rabbits die.
Yes.
Which is interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's to explain the fact that like when you cage a rabbit and then you look away, they would look back and sometimes they were dead and they wouldn't know why, so they just explain it as, oh, they need attention.
Yeah. But actually, well, it is they just die. They die of fright in the cage, which is a problem.
Yep, that's why.
And these are hares because Japan doesn't have rabbits. But and then the last creature they give you is birds. Who are bird-brained. You can basically say that they don't really care about many things. They're very flighty and forget things because they're birds. Mm-hmm. And you can play this differently. There isn't really a reason you have to play it like this if you're a smart bird. But hey, Daisy, you're cute. Thank you. And yeah, now we have a sample story, which is basically what I talked about before, which is our cat and our dog come across this child coming running home from school, and one of them gets barreled over, and then they solve the problem with the other child, and then later they get some tuna for it and stuff. And then it's that's an adventure.
Yep, that's the adventures in this game. I love it so much.
And you also have these asides where basically the characters talk to the elder turtle or other local gods. Elder turtle is a pond god, which we find out later, about how they can like do stuff, and then they get advice, which could be a scene in this game very easily.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you went crazy with it and you're just like, but I want to have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle aspect of this, then you could do that very easily.
Yeah. The game doesn't have fighting rules though. It tells you at one point. It tells you at one point how to fight, but it also says nothing good can come of this.
Exactly.
If you ever fight, actually your friendship goes with stuff goes down, and friendship is your power in this game. So you don't do that. Then we have a look at how evocative this also is. Like they have the beetle here, the fan is on, the cat is lying in front of it. I love it.
Oh.
Okay, then we make a henge.
Yep.
How do we make a henge? Well, it's very simple. You have 8 points, and you have to put them into 4 of your attributes. And these attributes are henge, animal, adult, and child. These are the best fucking attributes you can ever like you expect a lot, but you don't expect to see adult and child to be like attributes, and it works, and I'll explain. This deserves explanation. Henge is anything to do with using your special powers. Transforming into a human, for example, would be this, and many other things we're going to get into all drive off of this power. And it's also kind of sometimes used as a reaction if someone sees you like transform or do something, or you just want to startle someone using a power you have, then it would depend on this. Animal is your strength, stamina, agility, senses, and everything to do with physical strength and animalistic power. So there's actually some powers. For example, dog has a good nose. I'm pretty sure it's dependent on your animal stat, how good your nose is.
It is. And there are other things like if you have good eyesight as whatever animal, that's relying on the animal stat, etc.
Yep. An adult is how well you understand taking responsibility and also the human world and how stuff works, and like acting with finesse, as the game calls it, and hiding your feelings. This is that the human adults have very high and other people maybe don't. And then the other one is child, how well you can express your emotions, wheedle your way into getting what you want, which I love is a good. Get others to protect you and just plain have fun. And all of these attributes have to be a 1 except adult, which can be a 0 if you want.
It's actually the opposite.
Is it?
It says you should have at least an adult of 1. Wait.
No.
I read it wrong. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because right. You can totally be just a child, basically. And not if you take adult 0 though, you don't understand any technology, and it's all like animal level understanding of what telephone is and stuff. You can't use it.
Like you stare at a bus going by and you have absolutely no idea what it is.
Yeah. And then you decide what you look like in human form. It's a specific form. You can't just be whatever. You can have like appropriate for the season clothing, which appears with you. The game makes sure to tell you, no, you are not naked. You just have clothes. We don't care. But that will transform back with you, so you can't do much with them except just wear them. You just have clothes. Who cares? You should be between the ages of, like, physically between ages of 8 and 18, it says, because you're supposed, the kind of stakes this has are not conducive for adults. And you're supposed to be a little guy doing, like, again, chasing the ball for the little boy, or making sure the girl gets to say goodbye to her friend before she moves away, and so on and so forth. It's not something you have to. An adult would have A way too easy time to just do that, and B, it would be hella boring. And you can get into shenanigans if a bunch of children who can turn into animals are supposed to do any task, so hey. I think here we go. Then they go into names, which, I mean, if you want to play this in Japantown, you follow this guide. And also, it's fine if you don't really. Who cares?
And explicitly calls out pet henge, how they would like to have a pet name.
Yeah, this goes for cats and dogs who might be called by their owners. Well, I guess dogs by their owners and cats by who they live with. And foxes also special because if they have their own shrine, their name has to be full name is passed down through the generations. Can use Japanese names culled from history. Okay, so then you have an old style name, which is cool. What was this? Well, this goes into detail again about you can play like whatever, play a boy. Can of course deal with more mature themes. The boy lost in the woods, what good base for a story, but a grieving widow or crabby old man can be just as good. Yes, you don't have to do the whimsical stuff. You can do a little bit of heavy stuff like lifting someone's spirit and so on. Depends what you want out of this.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of stories with this, and it gives you the setting in Japan, in the town, and it's just, again, like I said earlier, you could do this somewhere else too. It'd be very easy to do.
Yep, exactly. And then now we get to how these animals get for powers. Foxes all get these powers, all of them. But they also get weaknesses and additional powers, which we are going to get into this. So all foxes are alluring, which is a bit of a icky word. It's one of the few times I'll say maybe don't call it that, maybe call it cute or whatever.
Yeah.
Because also it's written in the opposite sex will like be alert to you, which I would have not have put here. This is one of the times I will call this book out for being like very Japan. Sorry.
Yes.
No other way to put it. This should have just read, yeah, you know, you are very cute as a button, and you can like use that to your advantage.
Yep.
Mechanically, blah blah blah, can also pick the contents of the other set's connection. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
You get this, but this allows you to kind of dictate how other people see you, which is going to be important.
Yep.
So, whereas I agree. Oracle. Someone sleeping nearby, have whatever dream you like. So you can give someone a dream. Obviously useful. Foxfire, you can make like a little fire appear on the tip of your tail. Or use this power in the evening or at night, and only while your tail is out. Makes sense. For the rest of the scene, you can use this power to make people who see it flee in fear or draw closer out of curiosity. So you can kind of choose who stays. That's cool. If they can make an adult check that beats your Henge attribute, they can react however they like. If you win, you can make them run away or draw closer as you please. Yeah.
I love that. I love the mechanic. Just like the more adult they are, the more they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing shit.
Exactly. Can become invisible, which, I mean, we know what that means. Can only see the fox if they can beat her Henge attribute +3 with a Henge check. So they're this basically means we're going to get into how the resolution actually works soon. Basically means this fox is invisible.
Yep.
You can turn an object into something else, living or inanimate, of similar size. That you change the object's outwards appearance to whatever you want. And it will be fully convincing in its looks. However, a rock turned into a person couldn't move, and a broken car turned into a new car wouldn't run. Only the appearance changes, while the abilities or lack thereof stay the same. Things change in this way, go back to normal when you cancel the effect on this, or the scene ends. Interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's also I like how all of these are the classic.
Yeah, these are super classic. Yeah. Fairy rain. You can cause a light rain to fall on the immediate area. This rain will come down regardless of whether there are any clouds, and it can come day or night. When the rain, Henge can take human form at no cost, and they can use wonder and feeling interchangeably. What this means, again, we get into. This basically is the buff for the party, so to speak.
Yeah,
and then
it's a really strong one.
For every one of these classes, you get additional powers. You can pick up to 3 of these, but if you pick in a power, you also get the weakness. And foxes, so really love fried tofu. And you see it, your transformation comes partially undone. If you were in full human form, your tail comes out. And if your tail was already out, your ears come out too. If both were out, you'll revert to full human form. That's for seeing tofu.
Yes.
And then, but you're a liar. You can make people believe a lie you've just told them. If they can't beat your Henge attribute with an adult check, they'll be tricked. They go on believing your lie and acting accordingly until they find very clear evidence to the contrary. So, like, these are fun, basically.
Oh yeah, these are so fun.
Yeah. A very strict rule against letting people see your true form. If someone does see your full fox form, your connection to both that person and the town lose 1 strength. Oh, that's actually...
Yeah.
Get into that.
It's a rough one.
Old friend, in long life, you've come to know many people. When you first meet another Henge, you can have them be someone you've known a long time, and when meeting a person, they can be someone you met when they were a child. It also works for local gods. This only works when meeting for the first time. Also, you must tell the narrator how you met. Since this game is not is very freeform, this is powerful. Being able to like, oh, this old man, I knew him when he was young, and at one time I did this and that with him.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
There's so much good storytelling in this.
Yep. Pride, you can take an arrogant attitude towards humans and other Henge. When others want to increase their connections to you, you cost them an extra 2 dreams. We should probably get into what this means. We're going to go over this page at least before I go into rules, because then we can come back here.
We can go back to the other ones.
Basically, making a connection with you, like being your friend, is more costly. Mm-hmm. And you might be like, but we can just roleplay that out, right? Well, there's a game mechanic here. But then the fun stuff is, you have a shrine. Humans have made a shrine dedicated to you. A fox that has a shrine can have up to 10,000 yen, about $100, of actual money until the end of each story. Also, people will not chase after or arrest the fox, though they can still be surprised. You can also speak to local gods as an equal. This is the only way, literally the only way anyone in this game has money. Mm-hmm. Like real money.
Yep.
Except maybe if you find like the purse of someone on the floor as a dog, like there will not be a way for you to have money. And it is obviously useful in many ways to have the ability to buy some stuff, maybe.
Yes, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Like this, it also goes back to the old stories of like these animal spirits. Local Tanuki is a thief because obviously he has to. He wants to go and buy mochi.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make mochi, so he has to go and steal. Little things like that.
Exactly. Strange. You speak and dress in a way that's out of touch with the times. Because you stand out so much, you can't really hide. And if walking around town in human form, you draw everyone's attention. Yeah, you look like an old, like from hundreds of years ago. But you can also float. You can float through the sky at a leisurely pace. You can move this way at about the speed of a person can walk. And getting up that high gives you a +2 bonus to checks for searching for things. The effect lasts until the end of the scene. This is just interesting. Like the fact that I would kind of allow players, like after the first time they play a character, maybe mix and match these, but so because like more or less it's random here. I feel it's a bit random which you get for which, but at the same time, I don't think these pairs are ever that bad. Cold. You have difficulty showing emotion and you come off as cold. Reduce the strength of connections from others gained by impression checks by 1. What does that mean? We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Marriage knot. By coldly scolding one person in one scene, you can create a stronger connection to another. You can reduce the strength of one person's connection to you by 1 in exchange for strengthening your connection to someone else. This can raise the connection from 0 to 1. Yeah. This is a power in this game. It should tell you something.
Yep. This is definitely different from anything else we've reviewed in that regard, and that your social connections are the most important thing in the entire game.
Yes. Bluff. You're always exaggerating your abilities. You must spend 2 points of feelings just to be able to spend feelings to raise your attributes in a check. Oh god, we'll get to what that means. You can give a human an object with special powers. Pick any one power of yours or friends to put into it. Choose properly, they can use that power with their wonder feelings. You can decide what form the present takes and how it's used. It shouldn't be too big or useful for anything else. Okay, interesting. Well, Manic Pixie Gaming, thank you for the follow. We're gonna go over other powers soon. I want to actually get into how the game works mechanically, because we're getting into mechanics here.
Yep.
So you make your character, you give attributes, you put points, you get your normal abilities, you get your special ones, which have a drawback.
Yep.
And then how is this actually played? Well, firstly, we have to talk about connections. Every character in this game has a connection to the town to start of strength 2, and to other players as well. And if there's two players, their connection strength is 2 between each other. And if there's more than 2 players, the game is supposed to be played with up to 4 players. Then it is a strength of 1. And then you decide for yourself what kind of connection it is. For example, I could have an admiring reaction towards someone, but they could see me as a rival because they also picked their connection. And this is supposed to tell you how you play this out. But then these are all supposed to be kind of non-negative, of course. Rival is the most negative here, but you don't want to lose them because they are like your rival. You see them as competition, but they are still in that way important to you. These things can change in between games if you like. And then there's certain things like you like them. This can only go as high as 2. And the maximum level is 5, just for reference. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's go into it. Getting wonder and feelings. At the beginning of each scene, each hanger that appears in the scene receives points of wonder and feelings based on the strength of their connections. Wonder comes from a hanger's bonds towards others, so it is used for the special powers that he or she can use for the town or other people. At the start of each scene, a hanger receives wonder equal to the total strength of his or her connections from themselves towards others. And then feelings is the other way around. Feelings come from the bonds others feel towards the henge, so they are a very precious thing carried in one's heart. At the start of each scene, a henge receives points of feelings equal to the total strength of his or her connections from others towards themselves. So in the example we just had, let's say we have 2 players. Then they get 4 wonder and 4 feelings to start because they have a level 2 connection to the town. The level 2 connection to each other. Had you have 4 players, would receive a total of 5, since you have a 2 from the town and a 1 from 3 other players.
Yep.
But you would get, and this is on both sides because everyone has the same. However, we will get to how you raise this. And these points, you just spend them. You're supposed to have a big stack of cards or coins or whatever in the middle of the table, and you just take some out. And and let's go back to our fox. If our fox wants to use their let's go up, their oracle power, it's a cost of 6. You cannot have a 6 in henge. your maximum will likely be a 3, maybe a 2, maybe if you're really into it, a 4, but most likely 2 or 3. So you have to spend, to do this power, you have to spend 3 points or 4 points or whatever it is of your wonder, because that is what you lose. And then feelings are something else, but that is how wonder is used. And so there are no dice, you just bid them. You have your points, you maybe have you bank them away for a few scenes, and then you use them. Yeah. And then also, how is the game supposed to be played? Well, you're supposed to talk to each other about what you do and do actions in game. And then whenever someone does something funny, fun, cool, something that advances the story, you can give them a dream point. Mm-hmm. And this is something the game stresses you should only do if you thought it was a good action. They did. And you should, even if other people give dream points, you don't have to if you didn't like it that much, etc. And then you just award these. And these are used later for something else. However, I would say the dream mechanic is the one iffy mechanic I have in this.
Yep. There's only one for me too.
Yeah. Hi, Phonon. Because again, I'm gonna go into dreams. We are gonna find out we use these to increase our connections. We pay dream points to increase connections.
Yep.
Is my game still right? I thought I did. Updated it. Did I update it? Shit, I didn't update it. I didn't update. Talk show.
There we go.
Yeah, that's fine. I did it now.
And
Thank you. Thanks, Fonan.
Yes, thank you, Fonan. To correct you slightly, feelings are used to boost your attributes temporarily, and wonder is only used to actually activate those powers.
Oh yeah, sorry, I mixed this up. Yeah.
So usually you wind up using both simultaneously, like when you use that ability to infiltrate the dreams of others or change their dreams.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I mixed it up. Yeah, you're right. You're correct.
You're good.
But yeah, dreams again. Like if I'm like, okay, to catch this ball, I'm gonna like blast ahead and try to get it before the car stops us, etc, blah blah blah, whatever. And someone says, oh, that's a cool action, you have a dream point, and someone else doesn't give me a dream point at the table for my cool action, it kind of ends up feeling a little bit bad. However, dreams are supposed to be given pretty constantly for even little things, so it isn't that bad, but it is a thing where I'm like, why is it done exactly like this? It would be... I should have changed it now. The category should have changed now. Because it is such a little thing, because even in their play example, that they start writing out, okay, at this point, X gives the dream to a Y, and then Y later gives the dream to the Z, and also the DM gets dream as well, because they also need it to do the same thing you are doing, which is strengthening connections. All of this feels a little arbitrary to me, and I wish they had a different mechanic for increasing things.
Yeah. If it was a little less arbitrary, it would be better.
I don't really know how to how do I put this? How to make it better? Because I mean, the min-maxer way, which would be missing the point if you play this game to min-max, but the min-maxer way would be to just always give anyone who does anything dream. Even if you thought it wasn't that cool. Because them having dream allows them to give you attribute points by strengthening the connection they have with you. But it still feels like you're playing favorites at the table a little bit.
Yeah, it winds up feeling that way. Yeah.
That is kind of exactly what this game shouldn't be doing. But I also don't have a good idea for a different mechanic, I will be honest.
It is very difficult to quantify cute.
Yeah. So that we're doing that after podcast, if that's okay. It is hard to quantify cute exactly. But yeah, you keep track, and then action checks. So as explained, if you want to do something, the DM tells you it's a five animal you have to get, and then you are like, I have 2 animal. I spend 3 of my points to get 5 animal, and then I do it.
Yep.
And otherwise, you can't do it. It is exactly like this. Also, this is just cute. The girl being like, I have my leash on,
Yes.
because I'm a dog, but I hide it behind my sweater normally. God damn it.
And they given guidelines for action checks.
Yeah. Exactly. This is how hard stuff should be. 2 or less, you probably don't need to do a check. 3, 4, well, I'm sure we can get by. 5, 6, you can manage it if this is something you're good at. And 7, 8, normally this would be impossible. 9 plus, no way. I don't remember if the game tells you in any point, if you're working together, you can like add up your scores or something. Like I would allow that in many situations where, for example, we are all trying to pull the child out of the lake. Well, everyone's animal, what's that? Or 7. Well, will have to spend them because this child is heavy. I don't know. That would be. I would allow addition in certain scenarios, even if this game. I'm not sure if it says it, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I only see 3 instances of the word team in the book, so you'd expect it to be like under teamwork or something.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
What is happening, Pooh? What? What? Anyway. And using wonder to get powers. The game stresses you can use as much wonder as you like, but you can only use as much wonder as you currently have. So you can't go in the negatives. If you can't do something currently, you can't do something. It is what it is. The image, it says poof. It continues behind the character. What are you talking about? Mind in the gutter here.
Is it because she's wearing a sweater?
No, we can't have, it can never escape that now. And one of the powers everyone has is taking human form. However, depending on what time of day it is, that is not free. If you look here, you do a simple addition. What time of day is it? What form would you like to take? And that's it. Birds just have a different thing. They get wings instead of tail. So if it's the daytime or morning, it's a 4 wonder to do any of this. If you want to then have ears and tail out, it's going to be a 4. If you want to be completely human during the day for one scene, it costs 8. Probably not getting 8 to start, so you can probably not be a human full time. And then only tail would be only 2. The game never really gives you a reason per se, except for certain disadvantages, to like care about this. Like I would say, if my tail is out, why would I care that my ears are out? Thinking about it, it's not any less obvious, right? Like you maybe hide the tail a little bit, but yeah. At the same time, it doesn't matter. Like it could be, it's just flavor. It's a lot of flavor, basically. And then in the evening, when mysterious stuff happens, that it's free to be a human with ears and tail out. Which is down to how it works in the folklore in Japan, where these creatures show up in the evening or at night. But at night it's slightly harder, actually, than in the evening. The twilight makes your eyes see things, is what they say. Carbon, thank you for the raid.
Hello, welcome, Raiders.
Hello. Hi. We're talking about a diceless role-playing game, Carbon, so you're at a good place, I think. But yeah, that's one way. It's the way these critters take human form. And then,
you know,
oh,
in
we
an
have
appropriate way where I'm happy with it.
I have a
Holy.
clip.
So
good at art. Look at him.
Yeah,
Look at him.
I'm
Be good
working
at
here
art.
on my third comic of Sea and Skin, which is Slice of Life, with these two lovely potatoes growing up in the middle of nowhere in Scotland, having their issues with sexuality, fetish.
Oh no, the clips are stuck again.
Yeah.
Parents, jobs, and all of.
Yeah. I can't wait for that comic to be out completely. It is what it is. To give Raiders a quick catch up here, let me remember page 60 is where we were. We are talking about Golden Sky Stories, in which you play a little critter, or a henge it's called, which is basically a kami from Japanese Shintoism, who just usually not even have their own worshipping shrine or anything. There's a little creature like a fairy from like European folklore, or Klabautermann or whatever, who tries to help people. And an adventure, and this might well just be, we are gonna make sure that the old lady is not sad anymore.
Mm-hmm.
By doing something, by finding out why she's sad and then helping her. Stuff like that. And there's a lot of very good art, if you're into the manga style, of course. If you are not, maybe this is not the game for you. And you again play an animal, you can turn into a person for a while. Ye all good, back to good RPG game. Yeah. And it is a diceless game, as I said. You pay for your powers with points you accrue during the game, which, depending on how you play, will be more or less, and what you do, blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to strengthen your connections with people and the town and other players, and that will raise your ability to do things. Because if people care more about you, you will get more points to spend on your special stuff. And if you care more about people, you're gonna get... Oh, actually, wrong way around. If you care about people in some way, if you have strong connection with others, you will be allowed to use your powers more often. And if you... if other people care about you, their care will make you able to strengthen your attributes, basically.
Yep. Basically.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically, people invest in you, you get stronger. Mm-hmm. You invest in the community, you become more magical.
Yeah. And the game also is a good system for making sure this doesn't get out of hand, but we'll get to that.
Yep.
So you can create connections. Again, a connection is something that directly gives you more power. You can do an impression check to do so. Which, what was that again?
Yep.
First thing is you select any attribute that you think will work. Yep. And then you impress them. And you might have to spend some of your points to do that. Mm-hmm. Time for the check. A result of 4 higher gives you a connection from 1. 8 higher gives you a connection of 2. This is how you can get an initial connection in there. So for example, if I'm a cat and there's like a person I want to impress, I might be like, well, I'm gonna act really like I'm gonna like walk in front of them, look at them, and then stretch and then yawn and be a cute cat. And then the GM is gonna be like, yeah, that's gonna be animal for your stat. By the way, the stats are henge, your animal, adult, and child. To go over that again as well. The hi Cisco. The whole idea being that you can boil that all down to anything. Like, and if you are, for example, in human form, you couldn't maybe use animal to impress someone, so you might have to use child to play with them in a fun way. They remember you, and so on and so forth. And this
will explicitly says you can't try to do an impression check with somebody if they don't want to do it back with you.
Yeah, exactly. Which means Yeah, if they just don't like you, they can't do it. Pat the cat in the belly, roll strength of sleight of hand check, exactly. And then we see what you generally can expect to get depending on which attribute you used.
Yep.
Like if you use Tanky, you can expect admiration or respect. If you use animal, affection or trust. Like, oh, this cat likes me, I trust the cat. If you have adult, admiration or rivalry. With child, protection or affection.
Yep.
And here's how many dreams. Remember, if anyone can give us a point of dream if they liked an action we did. If we accrue enough points, after a scene is played out, we can spend them to increase our connection with another person further. So ideally, what you play as is you impress someone in the scene, and then you increase the connection with the dreams.
Yep.
And this can create lopsided things where you have a stronger connection to them than they have to you. But that's fine. That's just how it can be sometimes. You like someone way more than they like you, for example. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Winter. And
it lets you have the scene where you're sitting on the hilltop as the fox spirit going, I really care about this town, but the town really doesn't care about you back.
Yeah.
That's good scenes.
Yes. I'm not sure you can strengthen the town directly. I think town goes up with adventures, but I could be wrong. It has been, for me, I have reread this, but I don't. It's been some years since I really sunk my teeth in.
Yes.
Never played this though, because it's hard, not gonna never find people. But yeah, if you want a really high connection, it costs way more points, as you might expect. So you might play a whole game to raise something to 5 from 4. And you can also, between adventures, change the nature of a connection by saying, okay, during the intermediate time, something happened that changed how we feel about each other.
Yep.
Yes, there are carbon. Everyone starts a connect. We're going to go up to that real quick. So when you write down your connections, every party member, if you have 2 players, they have a connection strength of 2. If you have more, they have a strength of 1, and you're supposed to have at most 4 people playing plus 1 DM. I mean, more. I don't see why more wouldn't work, but whatever. And then you just pick from the here's a sample list, but you can have others as well. Then if your game master says it's fine. But then you just, and most importantly, you can, for example, feel affection towards someone, but they can be like, but I admire them or I respect them, but I don't feel affection. Or they can be a rival while you see him as family. It's all possible. And it's just how the roleplay goes in that case. Informs the roleplay more than anything else.
Yep. It's very good for that. It's very, very good for that.
Yep.
It's kind of like the relationship webs that were done in Vampire 5th Edition, but this is more towards, okay, well, we have a mechanical reason for this too. It isn't just form a web or a flowchart.
Yep. Contents, we said that we can change the contents of our thing in between, I think, adventures. I would say adventures. Like admiration can change to love if the scene ends. Oh, if the scene ends, actually. Okay, it could change it from scene to scene. Okay. Which that's the better rule. So good job, game, because I think you can be like, okay, I said X initially. I think Y fits better to what just happened. Then just change it. And then at the end of a story, you do everything normally. In the last scene, you got your dream points still from doing cool things. You get your other points and anything left over. We will get to what happens with that. So, Henge can still get dream during a last scene, but they can't keep leftover dreams for the next story. Instead, you should use as many of them as you can to strengthen connections. Total up the strengths of all your connections towards others except the one to the town. Don't count connections from others or threats. This is how many points of memories you get for the story. Please see other things to find out what memories are. Memories are basically freebie points you can spend later to do anything. Once you've written down your memories, it's time to change all of your connections except the one to the town into threads. For threads, there are threads from you and threads to you. Write down your connections to you and connections from you on your Henge record sheet. Threads have connections too. Just like threads have contents. Oh, I misread that. Yeah. Write down the contents so you don't forget and keep the precious threads for later. So the other things to find out how to use threads. A thread. So as you might expect, if we play this game and we meet like 3 important people, because you can't just be like, oh, that guy on the street, I want to do an impression check and now he likes me. No.
Yeah.
The DM has to make, no, it has to be someone who matters in the story so you can do this. So in the example with we're chasing the little boy's ball down through the town, the little boy would probably be the person you could do this with, and maybe not even anyone else. But then, if you can imagine, if we play another game, and if you just kept adding to your thing, and you have 50 people written down who have a connection to you, and you get so many points that this game breaks down. So they smartly were like, okay, after each adventure, you write down, the little boy with the ball, he likes me or he is affectionate towards me. But if that boy doesn't appear in the next story, then I can't use him. But a thread basically means if this boy comes back later, I can be like, hey, I know this boy. I'm gonna activate my thread, and you put the thread back on your on your sheet for this adventure only, and then you can raise it again because you're spending time with that NPC basically, and then he will like you more if you use your dreams to increase it. Blah blah blah.
This is such a good, strong system for this thing.
Is a genius fucking system, and I kind of want to put something like that in another game, which is like another game for one, because it is always a tricky thing to know, okay, does this NPC like my players? Like, they kind of did good things for him, but they also did this and that was kind of a bit scummy, etc. I could see an expanded system for this working for basically any RPG.
We'll use Shadowrun as the example because we do that weekly right now in front of everybody. Sure. You could do that with Shadowrun very easily. What's my connection with this Johnson? What's this connection with this guy I saved? What's the connection with the contacts? And just have that be a thing.
I'm considering that as a one shot, maybe, yeah. The or maybe 2 shot, whatever. Because what this gives me, what other systems usually lack, is being like, well, I spent time with this person, and we did something together, and that is why I get to increase this now. Because in Shadowrun it's always very nebulous. Does this guy like me more because I bought stuff from him? Doesn't really make sense. Because even the book tells you, you should spend time with your connections to raise them, but doesn't ever tell you how.
Yeah. Doesn't quantify it.
Yeah, the quantification would help in many games. And in this one, again, it's super cool because then it's also a reward if you're like attentive and you're like, wait, is this the same old lady we had 6 months ago? Oh yeah, actually that is the same old lady we had 6 months ago. I recognize her now. And then I can put the thing on my sheet where I immediately get 2 points for every following scene of the adventure. And that is cool. That is interesting. And that makes you care about the stories that have been told. Even if you might be like, that was kind of just mid, that adventure. But if it's like a month later, the NPC comes back and you get to put them down in your sheet and get points, then that's cool.
Yeah. Really strong. I really love this because one of my main complaints with most RPGs is it isn't just the mechanical side of, hey, can we do a long campaign of this? It's also the social side of it too. Like, what is the advantage in most games of hanging out with the same old lady that you knew way back at level 1 in D&D? There is really no advantage beyond just the normal fluff and story benefit. With this, because you visited her, 3 times from level 1 to 20 or whatever, bam, you have connection 5 or 6 with her. and as a result, she's ready to teach you the secret of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can do whatever you want with it then.
Yep. This helps you like set up recurring characters as interesting to everyone, and gives everyone a reason to want to bond with them, kind of.
Yes.
Because again, in the bonds of this game, since everything is dependent on these connections, even if you are like power gaming this game for some reason, which I think would be very dumb, but even if you're like, oh, I don't really care, I just want to be like the strongest fox spirit, it is still in your best interest to be nice with the players, and so that they want to increase their stuff with you. And then you even pick the wrong class, because fox spirit has a lot of those disadvantages to make it harder to approach them, basically. But anyway, now that we know, then there's one more thing there is, if people notice that you have ears and a tail, they can be surprised. Or if you use powers, they can be surprised. And depending on how many points of attribute you have in something, they might just run away or faint or whatever. And then they quickly tell you, you can fight, please don't. Nothing good comes of it. Horseplay among friends is one thing, but you mustn't go picking fights with people you don't know them. And it's just like, yeah, you can use your adults, but they can use one of your stats, animal or adult, and then you fight, and you see who is higher. But also, your connection to the town is 3 or higher, it drops to 2. And
yes.
The connection to the town will raise every time you finish an adventure, because that's a special rule. Town goes up by 1 if you help it. And that's the only way this can go down. So yeah. And then they talk about the weaknesses again. You can strong connections. Oh yeah, this is also a good one. It is often happens that both sides of a connection reach a strength of 5. When a connection forms a line across the Hanger record sheet, those on both sides of the connection receive a total of 10 points each of wonder and feelings at the start of the next scene as a special reward. So you want to buff up, you want to play a party that likes each other. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, like, of all the games, it had to be this little cute game that has an actual mechanic for saying, hey guys, work together. Hey guys, like each other.
Yep. It is true. Showing up is the thing where, okay, maybe your Henge isn't there. There's no enemies in this carbon. That is the thing. The stakes in this are supposed to be, oh no, a little girl fell down. We have to make her not cry anymore. That's an adventure in this game. So you aren't gonna get drama from this. You aren't supposed to. You can have stakes in this.
Yes.
Because if like, oh, how do we help the old lady not be sad? How do we help her find someone to take care of the household because she can't anymore? That is like, it can be a pretty heavy thing to play out, even if the animals maybe not fully understand it in character. Mm-hmm. But there's not supposed to be enemies in this ever. I guess you could be like, okay, there's this one bully in town who is always the cause of trouble. That could work as a narrative device, but I don't know. Again, it's supposed to be a game about good feelings, as in social. Yeah, no. Still no, Carbon. I get it, but still no. You're supposed to have positive feelings. It is a heartwarming little game. That's what it is and wants to be. Like at most, you might have people indifferent to you, or local gods indifferent to you. Like the local river god doesn't care that you want the ball back. It's in his domain now. He's going to play with it as he wants because he's the river god and it's in his river. Stuff like that.
I love that.
Can use your points of memories as wonder or feeling. Yeah, exactly. Memories, as explained. All the points left over at the end turn into memories, and then you can use those later. These are basically like one-off points. If you use them, they are gone. These are more or less your luck. No ball mine. No, exactly. And then threads, as I've explained, this is people that come back for the next adventure in some way. I had a story with them before. Yeah, and this is where we got this. So connections also strengthen over time. If you had someone you played with an adventure with before, and you call them back from a thread, the connection goes up by 1 on both sides. Like, I see my friend again, is what this is.
Okay.
I remember having good times with my friend. Maybe I can have more good times. I'm looking forward to it. Goes up. This also means your connection to all other players tends to go up a lot, unless they always change character, which they could, I guess. And again, it means recurring characters you will eventually just have a strong connection with. And since this is what passes for power generation for your little mini god, they grow stronger from it, which makes sense. Non-violent role-playing. Yeah, they again, this book spends a lot of its time telling you how to play it. And while other books, I would be like, dude, I know how to play an RPG. In this, the mindset is so completely different that it's necessary and wanted. But now let's go back to we talked about rules because the book talks about them quite late. But let's go to our character classes again. Yep. Since we went over Fox, we're just gonna say again they were haughty and aloof and have actual powers that actually are like magical powers. Then you have the Tanukis, aka raccoon dogs.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
I love them the most.
They are all about transforming stuff into other stuff. Starting with their money power. You can make leaves, acorns, and so on appear to be money. It only works in the evening or at night, and the money will turn back into leaves and such at dawn.
Yes. I love them. I love them so much. I love these little bandits.
Yeah. Yes. While a fox can have a shrine and have actual money, you can just poof leaves into money and then have what you want. It's just funny.
Go around tricking people. Yes.
Yeah. Does cost a little bit of wonder though, but hey.
Yeah.
Can change you in a monstrous form to scare humans. People in Henge who see you will be surprised. When you use this power, you get a +1 bonus to Henge for causing surprise. You can decide what kind of monster you turn into. This is useful for scaring away people, obviously. Like, it's just interesting that you pay 8 for it. I would have maybe less. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. You can turn into a tool or a natural object, such as a teapot or stone. Also, if you change back suddenly, you may be able to surprise people. If you pay double cost, 16 points, you can become something big enough to hold several people, like a car or a shack. However, this power does not let you become liquid, gas, flame, or living things. I turn into a shack. It's such a good one.
It's so good.
You can change into a copy of a person you know. You can't change into someone you don't know. Also, once you're changed, you talk to someone. If you talk to someone who knows the person you're copying, you have to beat their adult attribute or the strengths of their connection to that person, whichever is higher, assumedly. If a Henge check, or they realize you're fake. Oh no! Focus is located is loaded with stuff. Exactly. You turn into Shaq, as in the baseball. Oh, I see. But he's not alive. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Tanuki drumming. You can call your other raccoon dog friends and have everyone drum on their bellies together. This can only be used in the evening or at night. People appearing in the scene who hear the drumming sounds have their adult attribute go dropped to 0, and electronics and other civilized devices stop working. This effect lasts until the scene ends. You can just have
so good.
You can just have a little party whenever you want. It costs 12 wonder, but still. You can surround someone with illusions and enchant their senses. One person is completely ensnared by the illusions, and they'll believe that they're in a completely different place. Other people can, of course, see reality, but the victim has to beat your Henge attribute with their Henge or adult attributes to break through the illusion. This power lasts until you can cancel it or the scene ends. Basically take someone like completely out of a scene. Interesting. And then again, you can have additionals up to 3. You have to take 1. You can take up to 3, and then if you take swell, you can make your body become massive to suppress people. People even Henge who haven't seen this power in use before can be surprised by it. If this is the case, you get a bonus of +2 to your Henge attribute for surprise checks. So you could swell bogey maybe even. But then cowering, you are timid and easily scared. Anytime you are subjected to surprise, you'll faint, regardless of your check result. Your transformation won't come undone when this happens, but you won't be able to move unless someone carries you. Yes, exactly, Sanders. You can become massive like Totoro.
Yes.
And then gullible. You can't figure out where you are being tricked, even when you're in the middle of tricking someone yourself. You never suspect you're being lied to, and even if you, as the player, fully understand what the lie has been told, your Henge will have to believe it. That's such a good one. That's also worded so strongly. I love it. You're just completely gullible. And that's funny. I would pick this in a heartbeat if I was playing a raccoon dog.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but you're also careless if this happens. You can calm people down by showing your clumsiness. You can only use this power when you've gained dreams for being clumsy. Everyone who saw your clumsiness gets 2 points of dreams. So this is actually just a power that gives, though no more than 3 narrator characters. This is actually just a power that gives you the ability to be like, oh, I'm gonna make other people like me for being clumsy. They might be protective of me and stuff. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. It really goes hand in hand with gullible too.
Yeah, it does. It is. This is a power that only works in a game like this, though. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Glutton, you'll have to eat, and if you don't get a proper meal, you can barely move. Furthermore, if there's food in front of you, you have to stop and eat until you're full or the food is all gone, even if you have other things to do. The stomach is empty, you can make it emit a soothing, rumbling sound. When finishing one scene without eating anything, you can use this power during the next scene. If anyone present has a protection, affection, or family connection to you, you can increase their connection to you by 1 to a maximum of 4. So this is just a free buff that's for the adventurer / permanent. Yeah. Like, it is interesting. Like, the fox has a lot of things. I'm haughty and I'm aloof and you can't really approach me. The tanuki is just a little guy who is hungry now, and then you take pity.
Yes. He's hungry, take pity on me, and then also I do illusions and give you fake money.
Yes, I'm a lovable scamp.
Yes.
Carried away. You get easily carried away when people flatter you. You have to attempt to make checks even if they are difficult and even if you know you'll fail. For example, even if your participation isn't necessary. God. This means you fail a lot in this game because if the DM tells you, this is going to be a 4, and you look at your stat sheet and they have a 2 in that attribute, either I spend 2 points of my limited points or I can't do it. It's as simple as that in this deck. There is no rolling a die for chance, etc. It's just a simple, I can't do this, but I have to do it anyway and fail. But that drives the story forward. This is basically being Mr. Ambrosius Cousteau from One Disco Elysium.
Yes. It is, especially when you combine it with the power you get from it.
Yeah. Tanuki dance. You can do an odd dance for the enjoyment of others. People who see your dance must make an adult check of 4 or higher, or they'll drop whatever they are planning to do and burst into laughter. Everyone who laughs in this way gains 3 dreams. So again, you just give everyone points to make them like you others more, which is interesting and a cool concept that again would not work in most other games.
Yeah, there's just so much here. Like, this is a game system where they knew what they were doing, and everything feeds back into it.
Yeah. Relaxed. You move slowly and just can't help it. You can't put your animal attribute above 1 when you create your henge. And if you want to raise it for a check, you have to spend an extra point of feelings. You're just laid back. But you can rest for free. You can take it easy in order to increase your power to change. You gain 6 points of wonder at the end of the scene you didn't participate in. This is so you just take a nap and then you have 6 extra points for next time. That is
like
that is interesting. That is also one I would take this because and then be like, I'm gonna go to the toilet real quick.
Yes.
Thanks for the extra points, suckers.
Oh, that's good. Like, this is gonna sound really funny, but White Wolf and whatever it is, Modiphius, take note. Like, this is how you do a game that's based around scenes, because all the mechanics, especially the Tanuki, holy shit, feed back into the idea that we're doing everything based around the scene.
Yep.
And White Wolf games, World of Darkness, yada yada, they all want to talk about the scene being like the standard construct of like where everything is based around, but they don't do much mechanically with that. But this does everything mechanically with that. I love it.
Yes, indeed. And again, it's just like you can easily imagine at a table being like, okay, I want to give the other players, like I did cool things last scene.
Yes.
Let's give the other players a chance to solve this one. And then I just say, I'm gonna rest and I'm gonna sit there because you're having that time where you're just cool with doing this. And the weird thing here is like you have a lot of active things you can do to give people dream points. But let's say you expect to need wonder, then you rest, for example. It is even a mechanical consideration that makes sense in this.
It is, yeah.
And again, like, because a lot of your stuff is expensive, having that extra wonder is going to come in handy to use that stuff.
Oh,
and then everyone's going to like you for having done this, and then all the dreams that everyone got will be used partially on you, and then it's going to be a good time for everyone. Yeah, last negative, teasing. You like to tease people all the time. You get blamed for most of the strange incidents around the town, and because of that, your connection from the town can't go above 2, which is actually that's an obvious negative. But you can do mischief for free. You like doing mischief, and everyone loves you for it. When you surprise someone, you can gain as many points of dreams as there are other participants, including the narrator. This almost feels like a bit of a balancing thing.
Yeah,
like another class will eventually have 5 points with the town. But you can't, because the town sees you as a lovable scamp. They don't really trust you as much as you would trust others. However, individual people really like you. And that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, this is strong. This is really strong. Yeah. And this is an example. We don't do too many systems where like you make one choice for your class and that's it. This is an example of how you do it where you have one class you pick, and then that's like so many games, pick class, race, background, this and that. And sure, all those come together to make a character. But there are ways to do systems where you pick one thing, like character creation.
Yeah.
That's important. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. I would eventually allow players to like pick more. I would also eventually allow players to maybe mix and match things. Though, for example, teasing mischief, I wouldn't allow them to separate this because these work together. Relaxed rest as well. Carried away into Tanuki Dance might be able to separate those. It's not really connected per se. What did you want to say?
I like how all these are tied into the stereotypes of these specific animal spirits too, and the game obviously wants you to emphasize the stereotypes that you want to emphasize with your particular character. Hey, Door, I love that so much.
Yes, and again, we have 6 of these in this book. There's 10 more apparently in other books that have been released, but I have no idea what those are called or where to find them. Next, you're a cat. Your first power is that you're a cat. Meaning, you're an ordinary cat, the kind of people see everywhere. Even when you are in your animal form, you will not surprise people who see you, and they will not find your presence strange. Basically, all the other ones we get now are going to have more or less this. Cat power is cat, yes. Your 4-point power is fuzzy. By taking a friendly attitude and rubbing against someone, you can remove the fetters of a person's heart. While you stay close to someone during a scene, that person's adult score drops to 0. Like, I love this, but I also love that it costs you points because you're a fucking cat. It costs a cat. It will always cost the cat some mental stress to be nice to anyone. So
yes, it makes sense. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Peek into hearts. You can read the heart of another. This mainly lets you hear what someone is saying in their head, not what they are feeling or what's true. Still, it lets you find out what someone's real intentions are from their heart rather than from their mouth. Known cat power, making people near you talk like an idiot. Exactly. Stealthy feet. You can move around neither leaving any traces nor making a sound. No one in the scene will notice your presence at all. No check is possible. Unless you speak or do something that will overtly make noise, this effect will continue until the scene ends. I like this. It obviously has many uses.
Yes. I really like it a lot.
And you can also be like, yeah, while the tanuki is drumming on his belly, I'm gonna stealthy feet over there and actually solve the problem. Like, it's a perfect double. Cat paths. You can use paths that only cats can see to appear and disappear unexpectedly. This lets you enter or leave a scene when and where you want, regardless of whether it's already in progress. This even works if you're doing something different in another scene taking place at the same time. I love this.
Doing there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we get into how this is a magical cat, right? Because now we are seeing, yeah, okay, this cat can be at 2 places at once. Schrödinger's cat is real. And then, obviously, friends cost the most. You can call other cats in the town to help you out. This will bring out a number of cats equal to the sum of your henge and animal attributes times 2 until the end of the scene. However, with so many cats in one place, you cannot use your kitty power. If you and your friends don't do a good job of hiding, you'll probably surprise people you meet. Yeah, this is like, oh yeah, cats are cute. And then you go into the cat alley where there's 55 cats and you're like, what the fuck? You could summon 16 cats with this if you just fully commit. I guess 14 because you have to have a 1 and something, but whatever. And then you have some weaknesses and strengths. Skittish. You are naturally curious and have strong hunting instinct. When you see something smaller than yourself or something you don't really understand, you'll go after it. And yet, when its movements or reactions turn out to be something unexpected, you'll be surprised. Make a try check. The narrator sets the required number. I like this. This is also very much cats, isn't it? Oh, a cucumber. Ah!
Oh no, the refrigerator clicked on. Ah!
Yes. Cat burglar. You can take something from someone without them realizing it. You can steal any one item that someone in your field of vision is carrying or wearing. You can even steal articles of clothing, but you can't steal vehicles or other things that the cat couldn't carry. You can be a panty thief, I guess.
Yes.
Lazy. You're particularly sensitive to heat and cold, and rather lazy cat. You're going to spend 1 point of feelings for checks relating to actively moving your body around. You're just a fat house cat. I love that.
The power that goes with it is perfect.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Sleeping soundly. You can participate even when you are doing nothing. If you appear in a scene but spend it sleeping, lazing around, yawning, you automatically get 10 points of dreams. However, you can't get this effect if you make checks, use other powers, or proactively engage in conversation. The narrator judges what qualifies. Just basically being a cat in the background,
Yes.
and then you get 10 points. It's so good.
So good.
Cat tongue. You are a lot of things you can't eat. You can't eat hot, temperature-wise things, citrus fruits, squid, or raw onions. If you eat any of these things by mistake, you're automatically affected by level 7 suppress, meaning you are go unconscious. You're basically,
Yes.
you're basically allergic. Oh no. Feign innocence. This lets you hide your true character and put on an excellent act. Declare that you are using this power before you make the check. When you use it, you can use whichever attribute you like for a check, rather than what the one designed by the narrator or the rules. Interesting.
Wow. I really like that. I really like that.
That's just one you can. And this is actually one of the parts that goes a bit deeper than this. This is interesting, and yeah, let's just allow someone to break your rules. That's perfect. Because a lot of games will do it like, oh, you can have additional rules. Like, this is also what works for you. But this is just straight up like, yeah, you want to like scare someone with child? Yeah, go for it. I guess, I don't know. And that's strong. That shows to me, that shows that these people had understanding of what they couldn't get away with in the game. That's cool.
Yeah. I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this at most gonna give you like 2 extra points of stuff. Like if you could build a cat with a 4 and something and use this to sometimes just do stuff you couldn't, and that's interesting. It's an interesting character. Just power through some problems. The next, can't swim. You're one of those cats who can't swim and hates water. If you enter a bathtub, pool, or a large body of water, you're automatically affected by a level 7 surprise. So if you, it's not slender. Stop the slender. But also acrobatics. You can move as though you're practically flying. When it comes to athletic stuff, if you make an animal check, you can pull off things that seem impossible, except, of course, for swimming.
Oh, that's so good.
I just heard a mouse or rat run on the inside of the stairs. Guess I'm gonna have to learn to do rodent Oh god, sorry, Waggles. That sucks.
That sucks, Waggles. I've had to deal with that in most places I've lived.
When traps rather than poison, nothing sticks to bed. Yeah, exactly. Get those live catch traps. They're the best ones. Selfish. You're very independent and moody. Even if you and someone else have a connection of 5 to each other, you still only get 5 points of feelings wonder each. Oof. That is just a kind of a nerf, but equal nerf. Trained to be the best French fry chef in Belgium. Goddamn, Cisco. From the shows, you can be anywhere and catch sight of anything. If you use this power, you can declare that you've seen something that happened before in another scene or story, even if you weren't there. However, you can't use this for things that happened before you were born. Interesting. That seems... it also breaks storytelling, but in an interesting way. Right now I'm struggling with ideas how to use this, but I'm sure there's many. Drake, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm not sure. Shred. Yeah. You see a Shoji Fusuma paper sliding door, poster, etc. You can't help but go at it with your claws. when you come across something like that in the town, you'll forget what you were doing and start scratching, of course. Menace. This lets you use the cat's mysterious dignity to menace and drive someone away. Make a henge check. If you beat the adult or henge, they'll flee the scene. However, you cannot use this on a friendly henge, so not on other players.
Okay.
What about seeing as one of previous 9 lives? Like, you can easily write more of these, I think. So I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very easily.
Yeah.
It all is set up in such a way that it's very obvious. Like, okay,
Yes.
dog, you get doggies, sticking
Yeah.
close, petting, it's all right. Substitution,
Yeah.
owl. Like, it all makes sense for dogs.
Yes, we're not gonna keep going. Like, I think I drove my point home. Dogs get the power. Oh, I'm a dog. I can defend someone and they're gonna feel better. Someone pets me, they're gonna get a good feeling, and I can like reassure people. I can howl to make, and then have a collar, but also you have a home to go to, which is funny.
Yep.
You can be a clumsy dog, but then you're perseverant. You can't lie, but you also, if you say sorry, if you apologize, you will be forgiven, and so on and so forth. The bunny is very cute. Mochi pounding, that one is fun. I'm going to read that one out. Because this is a thing in Japanese folklore that the moon spirit is a rabbit and he's good at pounding mochi, so other rabbits are good at that too.
Yes.
Mochi is a kind of rice cake made by pounding rice into a paste. Japanese people traditionally make it during New Year's with a big wooden hammer to pound the rice. Japanese folklore says the rabbit, the moon, spends his time pounding mochi. Perhaps because of some inheritance from him, you can make mochi. If you get someone to eat it, you gain feelings equal to the amount of wonder you spent on making the mochi. So essentially, you're just allowed to trade your feelings for wonder. So your attribute boosters can be traded for power using, basically, which is cool. You can look depressed, or you can look sad on purpose, and then they will be nice to you. It's fun. You can draw power from the moon and cause animals to become human and humans to become animals. You can only use this on a moonlit night and only on those who want to be affected. Henge lose their base powers, but not weaknesses, additional powers. And humans gain some of those animal weaknesses and additional powers. Those affected by this will not return to their normal selves until either the rabbit chooses so, or the transformation or the scene ends. Interesting. So for 20, so you're spending for that. And then you give your,
Yep, they have love powers.
Yeah, they have love powers.
Perfect.
Because that is what the rabbit is in their folklore. Is spoiled. And then the birds, birds are bird-brained. They can fly. They know stuff because they flow around everywhere, and so on and so forth. And with birds, I have night blind. I can't see in the night, but you can find things. So you're like a raven or something. But yeah, there's even bird brain. You tend to forget things very quickly. You cannot do knowledge-related adult or henge checks at all. Even if you, as a player, remember things, your bird henge will forget. It is something also Japanese.
Oh, so
that is Japanese seeing about birds, that they forget things. Go into action, putting your trust into luck and come out on top. When you use this, you gain 3 points of feelings. So you just trust the wind and you pay 4 wonder for 3 feelings. Yeah. And that is how these characters work.
Yep. Little sidebar for a second.
Yeah.
The little expansion book that they did,
Mm-hmm.
the new character types they add are the mouse henge, the wolf henge, the pony henge, the fish henge, and the witch.
Oh, they mentioned another game that is about witches, and there are cat familiars in this as well. But there's more than one book. I know that.
Yep.
They talk about there being a total of 10 new classes, basically.
Yep. This is, which is this? Colors of the Sky. I tossed you the PDF.
Oh, thank you. I shall look. We shall maybe take a look. Oh, same characters, same artist. Very good.
Yeah.
The melon. Oh no. Ah. Yeah, this is clearly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So we have mouse. Aw, look at her.
That's so cute.
Of wolf. No, that's, oh god, really? That looks like a My Little Pony. Interesting.
I think this was the English version only one that they added.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It would have come out during Brony times, so this makes sense. And you could totally make a My Little Pony game like that works in this way.
Oh yeah, you easily could. Yeah.
It's even, yeah, it clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Fish. Oh, fish looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, where are there two? Oh, mermaid! Mermaid alert! Mermaid alert!
Yep. That's part of the reason why I did this for certain people in our audience.
What do mermaids get? Gills, obviously. Fish out of water in the end of the scene party. Or fully in human form in the next scene does not take place. In water, you can use this power to remain in that form. Replace the standard transformation. Oh, they made it cheaper for you to stay in human form for obvious reasons.
Nice. Okay.
Can give other people the ability to breathe underwater. Cool. No one notices a fish. Once you activate this power, no one notices you until you say something or take obvious actions. Yes, here, mermaid alert. Look.
Yes.
This is the fish henge. You have the giraffe form is the mermaid. Very cute one too. Like it. I don't like the fish though. But it's a cute. You can be a cute girl, cute person, boy. I'm not sure. Could be either. Presence calming to others. Power lets other person or henge automatically pass the surprise check. Ah, cool.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Learn something about the air-breathing world. Immediately increase the strength of your connection to whoever teaches it to you by one. Oh, you're fascinated. Oh, cool. Fish bowl.
Oh.
You're a pet fish kept in a bowl or tank by a human. You don't have any access to undersea society. It is as strange to you as it is to any other air-breather. That's
You can literally just play like a goldfish in this game. That's great.
Yeah. Fish needs a bicycle. You know where your owner keeps all her possessions and how to use them to get around the human world. Is this power to borrow one ordinary everyday item from your owner? No, I can't come to work. My fish has stolen my car again.
That's so strong.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, you can get for 30. Okay, I'm going curious now. Coat of scales. When you take a human form with legs, you leave behind a beautiful coat of scales. Without it, you cannot turn back into a fish. You must pay as much of the cost of transformation at the start of each scene as you can. Ah, interesting. That is probably like directly folklore related.
Oh yeah.
There's my laptop. Yeah. My fish stole my laptop. I love that so much. You have a mysterious charm that can entrance others. You create a new connection with an impression check. If the other side is a person or henge who prefers your sex. Better wording. Good job. The strength of the connection with them is increased by 1. You can also pick the contents of the other side's connection for the first scene and break. Interesting.
Oh.
Tasty. You are a sort of fish that the humans find tasty. In your fish form, humans may very well want to eat you. Look out. This isn't the kind of game where a character will actually get eaten, of course, but you could get caught by a fisherman if you are not careful. I love this. And then wish. If someone has caught you, you may grant them a wish in exchange for releasing you. This is a real wish and lasts forever. You may decide to be mean or nice about it, but the ultimate effects are up to the narrator. You can only use this power once per story. That's also cool. 30 though. 30.
I like the requirement. Somebody has to catch you.
Yes. isolation. You're from a different world, and your connections to the world with what are weaker. Connections of town starts the strength of one. That's not a big disadvantage, but underwater world. When you show someone your underwater world, increase the strength of their connection to you by 1. You can only use this once per story for any given character. Okay, yeah, that's kind of mid. I like the others more. Yeah. Goldfish memory. You tend to forget things very quickly. You cannot do knowledge where engage checks at all. Even okay, the same as bird. You have a school, a whole family of fish that will back you up and help you hide. You use this power, you can call up a number of fish equal to the sum of your hanging attributes times 2 until the end of the. Also kind of mid. Why does it cost 8? Like your fish will probably not be in the water that much. Can't think of it. Mute. You can't speak, though you can still gesture, make noise, and sing. Aww. Beautiful song. You can sing beautiful songs of the water. When you do so, anyone who hears you must pass an indulge check against your henge score +2, or become entranced by your song, unable to do anything but listen. Okay. I like stuff like this, but it is a big ask for the player.
Yeah, it is a big ask. School is like the same version as the cat one. It's just they don't put anything in there about surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's fish. Why would that surprise anyone?
Exactly.
It makes sense, but also maybe this is. I would have straight up come up with something different.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Too.
Which I assume work completely differently.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of the same, but.
Well, you don't have a 0-point power. You cast a small charm when the recipient gains feeling equal to the amount of wonder. Okay. You can talk to animals to understand animal. This is animal, not henge. Henge are henge. Have a broom you can fly on. You can change your clothing. Moonlight mischief. Same thing as the bunny. For a sun setting, you can make the mysterious become normal. You can only use this power during scenes taking place in the evening. In a scene where you are used this power, henge can use any of their powers without speaking. Oh. Okay. Powerful.
All right.
Explosion. What? In order to use your magical powers, you have to say a specific magic words. Present in the same scene with a henge or traitor you have 2 or higher will know if you use one of your powers. If they do notice, they can prevent you from using a power if they get a higher animal attribute to something. As soon as you jump in your face before you can use your power.
Yeah.
Additional power explosion. You can cause a burst of light and sound. This doesn't cause any fires or knocks anyone down, but it does cause surprise. Everyone in the same scene, so you can get a check of result of 8 or higher, or the surprise will cause them to faint. Okay, you can just make anyone faint. Oh.
I assume that this is basically the one thing that bridges with the other game that they made. That is where you play a witch.
Yeah. Exactly. In the other game, you play a witch with a familiar. Yeah, which we. Yeah, that just seems like you would be able to do that now. And then you have what's the rest of this? Oh, this is additional adventures, little adventure ideas. Yep. Okay.
More stories, more adventure.
Yeah. Let's get back to the main thing.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
Cool. Oh god, they mentioned it at the end. Carbon. I will. Wait, let me try to find that. Oh yeah, let's look at the character sheet. Portrait, true form portrait, 4 attributes, your powers that you took and your weakness, the normal powers, your weakness and additional powers, your amount of dreams, which you can write down. We can also just use tokens. Your connections for this adventure, your wonder, your feelings, your threats you can write down. This is actually not enough room, I don't think, but whatever.
No.
This was kickstarted, $85,000. They asked for 7,000, so good on them.
Yep.
Good product for what it was. It was in this, I think.
Oh yeah,
so,
they made RPG also.
They made RPG is the other thing this person made, but it's not the one we are talking about. What did they mention at the start?
See where to find it.
I'm trying. I think it was at the start then. Wow. like the specifics, there's an older game called something with witches, where you...
I'm trying to find it. Like I'm on the drive-through RPG to find it, but I'm not finding it.
Game.
And all the stuff that I keep mentioning, like you could set this in the English countryside. They do have an expansion book that is specifically for that, just called Fairy Skies.
Nice.
Yeah, like
it was in here. It was in here. It was mentioned more than once, but I forget the name. Wouldn't be in the sample story. I think it might be start here.
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
After the creatures. Yeah, Witch and Familiar is what you played as. I think, not sure in what way that worked, because this game obviously doesn't go into detail about another game.
Yep. Well, I can't find it. They do have an expansion book called Twilight Tales that allows you to play Oni, Kappa, ghosts.
Yo,
visitors.
Rainbow. Thank you for the raid.
Hello, Raiders.
We're talking about the Golden Sky Stories, which is a cool RPG. I can't go back and... I'm sorry, I can't go back and talk about everything this does again. It is a non-dice game with where you are supposed to be a little critter who can turn into a human, and you solve little problems. I will find this. Yeah, Witchcraft. Haha, here it is. There it is. According to the designer Ryo Kamiya, Golden Sky Stories is a part of a genre called Everyday Magic, a distinction just with a much older Japanese RPG called Witchcraft. Everyday Magic Stories are heartwarming stories about everyday life with some magic to make them a little more interesting, a little more wondrous. And yeah, we're getting to the autumn. Is this autumn already? No, this is the summer. And now it's autumn. And now here's the whole thing about how to DM, the how to DM sections. Thank you, Rainbow. No worries. Which is basically, yeah, you will need the book, you will need the sheets, you need the pencils, and you need some form of tokens for the different things you're doing, because you're constantly spending points, right? And getting points. It makes sense to do that with tokens instead of constantly erasing shit. And you also need people and time and gentle feelings. And then you have to do what you have to do: create a town, prepare a story, drive the story, be a referee, and portray other characters. That's what you do. Creating the town, again, it should be a small, like rural, very scenic hamlet of sorts. You have to come up with a story inside of it. Then you have to make sure your stuff happens. This does not mean if you come up with an idea and the players go in a completely different direction with it, then you expect that you should railroad them. The book is very clear to point this out. But make sure that whatever is happening in the game, if there's a lull, if players can't think of other things to do, they're gonna just, they're gonna just make sure something keeps happening, something drives the story forward, something gives players stuff to do, react to, and maybe find the solution for the thing that's going on. And then you have to decide which attributes and checks to make. And the game is sure to point out, like, you shouldn't lord it over. This game is supposed to be very collaborative, obviously.
Mm-hmm. This is the peak of collaborative storytelling.
Yeah. And portraying other characters, yeah, obviously, you have to play everyone who isn't a player. And the writing is good. And now, an extra story. This goes now, I talked initially about, like, the little boy running away from his friend because they were made fun of, blah, blah, blah. This is the same thing again, but with players playing it, which is a fun idea to, like, circle back. Again, we're not reading it, but this makes sure to talk about how the mechanics work. and how to make a character at first, and then we are in the first scene. We're on this little road. Also, interestingly, it makes the in-universe players actually the characters in their human form, which is funny. But whatever. It's just
I like that.
because they use the same names here, and then yeah, whatever. This is basically just showing you. For example, I give Rico a dream, blah blah, and then how a play session actually goes. Which again, in many RPGs do this, but this one you need it more because you're not used to this shit. In normal RPGs, like I attack the guy. Yeah, you rolled a XYZ to hit. Is it gonna hit? Well, in this case, enemy has that for defense, so you hit, don't hit, whatever. But in this, it's like, yeah, give them a dream. Oh yeah, what was that again? Oh right, you give them that so you can have the strengthening of connections later. That's what dream is for. It's important to point out that that's happening. And then also pointing in the scene, the player that didn't get dream points out, oh, I need to try harder to play in the game, which was clearly the intention of them with putting dream in as a reward for doing things. But again, it's also like easily possible that people get like crowded out of the game a little bit, and that should probably be looked after if you are the DM. But as I said when we talked about dream, I don't really know how to do it better, so
yeah, I really don't, because we've talked about, hey, you want to incentivize certain kinds of play by handing out rewards that go with that kind of play, and for this kind of game they're very direct about, hey, you got to do cute things and you got to do things that make things better, and yes, when you do those two things, that's when you get dreams. And I literally cannot think of another way, because that's the whole point, is it's just incentivizing.
Yes. And what I find really cool about this actually is, initially you read that little story about that boy who has to reconcile with his friend, right? And it's heartwarming, and you're like, oh, this is like the mood of this game. And either you're going to bounce off because you don't like that, or you're not going to bounce off and you like it. So with the whose line rule of dreams, or the points don't matter, and everything's made up. I don't know. Maybe there's ways, but I couldn't come up with a good one. I'm going to present this as, this is definitely workable. But now, to get back to my point, like they set you the mood, but then they show you how in the game and using its rules you can get to where that mood is supposed to come from. And that's what this whole section is, and I really like it.
Yes.
Like even showing like these little things of, oh, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna like strengthen my connections to this boy because I think he's cute. And the cat's like, oh, I can't have enough points. I don't have enough points to do the same thing. Fuck, I didn't do enough things in the scene. And the DM just being like the DM. It's kind of, yeah. Like this is this captures like a scene at the table well. And then there's just more of this. And it's just cute. It's just cute stuff. Cutesy stuff. Very nice. You have a spider goddess of a local forest deity. They're gonna come into play now because we're entering.
Yep.
Here. Firstly, we get some story ideas. This is stuff. This is exactly how I like my stories and adventures laid out, because as you can see, it's a few pages where it starts out, you have characters. A fox-henge, narrator's character, and the players. No one else can be, in the logic of this adventure, made a connection with. Because other people don't matter for what they are doing. A list of time they expect you to need. Depending on how many players you are, this might be wrong, but whatever, it's good to have that. For this story, the narrator can use 20 points of wonder and 20 points of feelings in each scene. This is important again because you have to outbid each other on stuff. And in the story summary here, you're supposed to befriend this lonely fox who is aloof at first, so you have to make them act in that way. But you can't do it where they aren't likable per se. And the whole story here is just about, we're meeting this fox spirit and we have to befriend them. That is your adventure. Good luck. And just cool. And then it's eventually, it starts raining. That's the scene. Mm-hmm. It's just cool. It's just, that's how it goes. Now you have a friend in this place. And then crying in the night, you have a human child and a puppy who's not a henge, who are important. You can befriend them. And then you have to guide this child out of the wilderness where they are stranded or whatever the fuck. I didn't read these in detail, but
yeah, they're very basic stories.
Yeah, and then they're just set up in ways where there's enough info here that even as a newbie DM, you will be like, okay, the other idea I had about whatever the fuck, I can do like 4 or 5 scenes that sets that up well and that works, and then should be able to run it. This game is a lot of think on your feet though. Mm-hmm. And then they talk about the countryside and how you're supposed to like depict it, which this is a bit more, I would say this, you could play this a bit differently if you wanted to, but I think for the game they're presenting you works well, in that it's giving you like the idea that the town is really what matters. Everything else, blah blah blah. I don't really. You can go somewhere else to see new things, but your characters aren't supposed to really care about that much, right? They're supposed to be animals. Mm-hmm. They have like their turf, so to speak.
They have their turf, and their connections are there in the town. It is the other town over there. They have a vested interest, like mechanically and just in the lore of the character of the world. Just staying right here, even if a centipede girl moves in, according to that picture.
As she's another local spirit. And there's a spider spirit.
Oh, I love how she's drawn.
Yes.
Love it.
Spiders in Japanese folklore have very good kimonos because they make their own clothing. And then we get to winter. And winter is all the mechanical stuff. As in, here's stats. And this isn't like, obviously we only have 4 of those, so it's not a big spread. But then it gives you like some mood and some ideas about what you can do with these creatures, which is good. Mm-hmm. Like, let's read out the fox. Foxes, this is a normal fox, by the way. This is not a henge fox. This is not a magical fox. Foxes live deep in the forest and mountains and seldom show themselves before humans. However, when people hang permissions, foxes will sneak up and eat them sometimes. Foxes generally fear people and other animals, but when they have friends, they will play pleasantly together. For information on foxes, see the introduction to Fox Henge. But not all foxes can transform, so this is a normal fox, but more likely to deal with Henge because you're a magical fox. And then so on and so forth. And for stuff that isn't a Henge, it gives you ideas for what they could do. And
it gives you details on what won't become Henge.
Yep.
So that like bees, for example, they point out, no, these don't become Henge, so don't include that. Whereas with boars, I don't think they say anything like that.
Nope.
So, you could run across a boar Henge and have to negotiate with them.
Yep. Could be a local deity, for sure. Mm-hmm. And then also just because boars or cows are big and strong, they get more animal. But they clearly don't have other attributes because they don't care about being adults or children or whatever. Then there's chickens, which are a common sight in any rural town, of course. Fish, animals in water. And there's a bunch of normal animal stats and like some basic descriptions and ideas what these could do. And then abilities of animals in stories. Talks about other animals. They just think about like basically how big and scary it is. The more animal it has, it won't have other stats, blah, blah, blah. Maybe some Henge, because they are like mischievous animals or smart animals.
Yep.
And then it goes into detail about people. And these are given by their kind of story hook in there. A lonely person, a top brat, a diligent person, a princess, a mismatched couple, siblings and so on and so forth. So they don't really give you, oh, this is a corporate security guard. No, farmer is the one like that is the most specific so far. Because a lonely person could be a farmer, but also a farmer is just a dude you can meet more in a rural town, of course. So that's for a farmer. And there's a city person or a baby, or grumpy old man, sensei. Sensei has child 3. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, lady from the general store. I love that.
Yes, I love that. They kind of also take child to mean like open-minded.
Yes, yeah, true.
Like open to new things. So the sensei having a high adult and high child. Oh God, like you can't simulate that with any other system we've looked at so far.
That is true. It makes sense. This. Yeah. And Buddhist priest, shrine maiden, leaving town. What? Yeah, oh yeah, someone who will leave town gains a bonus to adult and child because they're trying to be, show that they can deal with this, but also they really just feel more emotions right now because they're leaving their friends behind. That's so good.
Yep.
Well, actually, it's actually supposed to be 1+, so you can just decide. I also like the idea it's a buff, though. I would do this with a buff because you can clearly match these.
Yep.
Yeah, leaving town, that's one of those things where, oh no, my friend is leaving town, how will I cope with that? And now the animals help me cope. By finding me a new friend, maybe. Or maybe by making sure I talk to my good friend one last time so that we keep in touch. Because we have recently had a fight. Adventure written. Fucking shit, it's not that hard. Because these are so low stakes, I could come up with an adventure for this very quickly.
Very quickly.
Like the mood has to be there because I'm currently in that mood because I'm talking about this game. It's easy. And if the mood is there, you can really come up with something that players can do quite easily, in my opinion. And then people in stories, participating as people is a little subsection where it's like, okay, if you have a player who isn't in the scene, they might play a person if you trust them to do.
I love that.
You shouldn't do that with first-time players, blah blah. You should make sure they will like do it fine. But that's a good way to engage someone if the story demands that the characters split up, of course. Talks a sidebar about Japanese religion before we get to local gods and how we present those. They all get free powers that are basically about people we don't want to see us can't see us. And then have a pond god. There could be a turtle, a fish, a snake, a shellfish, a frog. And then they give you like some powers these gods have and what they could do in the story. These are not supposed to be like you can solve a god's problem, but the more interesting thing usually comes from interacting with people in this.
God, though, there's just so many possibilities.
Yeah. Kids, like river god story fragments. Kids from the town might get the river god really mad with a little bit of mischief. She might mistake something accidentally dropped into the river for garbage and get angry. The river god might use her soak power on a child and then be worried when the child catches a cold. Such a moody local god might fall in love with a human. Like, have like a few story ideas in case you didn't have enough. Very good. This fragment stuff is very good. Did they do it for people as well? I think it was... Yeah, they did. Yeah, very good.
Let's just more games need to just bluntly do this. Like, if you're going to put an orc section in your DM guide part of the book, put story fragments after the orcs. Just do it. Even though we all know what orcs are, maybe your orcs are different. Who knows? Maybe your orcs in your setting like to wear glasses and I don't know, read the newspaper. Do something different, and use story fragments.
Phone on. It's also true that the general story might be very put upon in this game because if you have a tanuki, they will just constantly pay with leaves, icons for whatever they want.
Yes.
But yeah, they tell you like what the local god might be. A forest god might be a spider. A large tree might even be a god, and then some powers, blah blah blah. Story ideas. Then how to use the gods in their stories. Like these are again local gods. These are tied to a place. They will not leave that place. They're the guardian, basically, of whatever. I love this fat snake that's jumping.
Yes.
That is. I saw that somewhere before. I was like, that's weird, but I guess it must be the thing. And now it gives you a sample town that you can just use in your game if you want, giving you like the train station shops, what is at the station itself. There's a farm specifically. There's a town hall. There's a school. There's a temple. A haunted house somewhere. Blah 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 blah. With some mood, and then you get a like 2-page map. Very cutely drawn, very child drawn. This is one of the best maps in any RPG ever because it like fits perfectly. This is what a little child imagines their town like.
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly there's, for example, more houses than like 5 houses in this area. But who cares? My friend, the centipede spirit lives in these paddies, for example. And so on and so forth. Like it just works as a perfect representation of how a child thinks of stuff. Of fiascos.
So evocative too.
Sorry, we still love the input. Yeah. And yeah, it is super evocative. And again, you can tell that someone drew this style on purpose. Because they then put their normal characters next to it. And then yeah, we get one more in character section, then we get the afterword from the translator, as well as the thanks, because again, Kickstarter game, the editor also gets chime in, and basically they say, we didn't want to put all the books in as one, because then it would be too much stuff. I kind of would say, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like what they give you is plenty, and then having lots of little splat books afterwards with, like, I just sent you the other one that has like the Oni and lets you play the Mononoke and so on.
I'm clicking right now.
Yeah.
Oh, we see a male character, 2 male characters. Interesting. Oh, fucking manga in the start as well. Oh god, nice.
Yes.
And also like, there's no preamble here. That's just like how to create Mononoke. Yeah, here's like 1 page of rules, and then here's your character stuff.
Yep, they jump right into it. Which there are a lot of game books that do splat books should do this.
Oni. Ooh. Oh.
Oni boy. Yes, and instead of a normal club, he just uses a metal baseball bat.
Of course. Kappa. Oof. Oh, he looks sus. Also, same setup with the powers and stuff. Ghost.
Yep.
Oh, Ghost, it's fun. Take note, people from White Wolf again, because your Ghost RPGs never work well because you are like, everyone plays a Ghost. Maybe that's stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't work very well. Oh, you can be an alien. That's great. That's so good. That's so good. That's magic. And
totally fits the vibe.
Yes, it fits so well. Also, it works perfectly because this is normal. All these animals can turn into people. That makes sense to me. I'm an alien. I have no context for any of this.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. It's so good.
If you scroll back up slightly to the example images for UFOs for aliens, it shows you like the little go back down a little bit.
Down.
The little crowd of people.
Yeah.
It shows you all the different examples of permutations. Like Santa Claus is considered an alien because he's completely out of touch with society.
I love that there's one witch in the background that's staring at the procession. Oh,
Yes.
that's great. I love it. I love this because we could have put more Henge in there, but why? You can be a little green man if you want.
Yes.
That's great.
And then they have more example stories.
Yeah,
and
more
stuff.
more story stuff. It's again, it's good to put more in just in case you need it. And these are on a level. Shadowrun 4th edition also did this, name drop for that, but it's fine. The book also name drops Shadowrun Red at the start.
Yes.
Where it's like, here's a setup, here's some scenes that would happen if players follow the intended path of this. Here's some enemies they would meet, done. And this book can omit enemies because you don't really have them. It works.
Yep.
Oh, that's very classic.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Wait, in that same scene, the person to the right almost looked like a goat spirit.
Yeah, true. Might be one. I mean, you could easily write more spirit types for this, like a fairy and a goat spirit, whatever you want. I think goats are not really a Japanese creature, though. I don't think they have. No. Do they have them at all? I don't remember.
Goat spirit, Japan.
Oh no, the big dog is attacking the car. Man. Yeah. Oh, there's the same sheet again. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they have that weird goat antelope, the sorrel.
Ah, okay.
That, yeah, they're related to goats.
Yeah. So to give my final thoughts here and stuff, I like this.
Yeah.
I recognize that this isn't a game, probably a game you can play for years, and it feel as fresh as it did at the start. I think, like, as cool as all the powers are, and as evocative as all this, and as fun as all this, they're gonna eventually like run out of steam. But this is one of the best. XYZ is ill. Yeah, dig out your little guys. We're gonna do a little adventure. Like I've ever seen. This is something you could easily use if someone is missing from your game. This is a one-shot machine.
Really good.
Because the adventures are basically guaranteed to end on one evening. Like it's hard to imagine writing a story that has stakes as low as this. It can't be resolved in like a day playing. And then next week you go back to the normal game because we are back now and no one had to miss a session. I think that's where with this game, where I would use this game and where I wanted to use this game, but back in the day, then my group I played with kind of fizzled out, so I never really got to do anything with it.
Yeah. Like, my final analysis of this is, going back to what I said at the very beginning, this is the first quote-unquote cute game that we reviewed. Like, Made RPG is intended to also be another cute game.
Yeah.
There are other cute games out there, but this is the very first cute game. This is the second translated game into English that we've done, and we'll probably do more this year, actually. We might do Worm at some point, and that was translated from French.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. My point is that this is just dripping with everything that you want. This is, we want to play a Japanese game. We want to create little house spirits, little animal guys, little whatever, and we want to play as them. Bam. This is have everything that you want right there. If you want to do something like Kiki's Delivery Service, you can easily do that with this.
Yeah. I'll also say, if you're like, oh, I like the art of this, and I like the vibe of this, but I don't really even want to play it that much, but I like this stuff this year. Gotta put it in chat, just so it's because the spelling etc. Is this person's manga? There are ways to find this translated. I am not gonna say how, and I'm not gonna encourage you to look at the stuff. As far as I know, there is no official English translation, so you have to lose the fan sub stuff. And this is basically just a thing where exactly this game in manga form. and I highly recommend it. It's very heartwarming to read in small bursts.
Oh yeah, there's so much out there for horror games, for gritty games, for games where mega corporations are oppressing you. There's so many games for that already. There's very few little cute little games like this that we can really like reach out to and go, okay, this is what we can do if we really want to get picked up. This is what we can do if we really want to do something that's small, where we really feel like our little raccoon dog guy helped this little boy. Oh yeah, I like how they use that example.
I said they name drop it, and I was not lying.
Mm-hmm.
For Japanese gamers playing Shadowrun, Seattle becomes a fantastic exotic locale, and Golden Sky Stories rural Japan can be no less wondrous for you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They're not going into detail. Obviously, Shadowrun is not at all compatible with this.
No.
I don't guess. They name dropped my game. What can I say? I'm into it.
They're very self-aware with that, you know.
Oh yeah, as Rex honorable mention to Mouse Guard, I will say yes, but because Mouse Guard is ultimately there is conflict there, and fighting and potentially like you can tell a story full of pathos about in Mouse Guard, which is just not what this is intended for at all. You intend to be very carefree in this, and I think that is a strength. Because I have not seen that anywhere else. I want to play a Tanuki Shadow. You could do a free spirit thing, actually.
I would do that.
Don't forget to name drop this vampire's favorite games. Yeah, exactly. When I reread this, right, I didn't remember that they dropped Shadow. I was like, okay, let's quickly go over the writing style. So you read the first few pages in detail. And then they just name drop Shadowrun right off the bat. So
yes.
I knew I was in good hands, so to speak.
Yes. I guess the final comparison I'll compare it to Toon for one reason. Toon knew what it was. Toon is a silly game, but you can do lots of heartwarming stuff with it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it decided to be a thing. It only had, 4 stats? You know, these things. And the stat names surprise people out of nowhere, like, oh god, we don't have charisma, we have chutzpah. And then in this game, you have adult and child. I mean...
yes.
Being willing to be that different will do something for your RPG.
Yes.
There's endless debate over, okay, is dexterity the god stat? There aren't debates like this in games like this.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so heartwarming for me, is in part, I'm not thinking about the mechanics that hard.
Yes. And also, you're coming to the next thing. Is diceless the right choice here? I would say yes.
Yeah.
Because while you're playing diceless, you're not propless, and you're kind of building up like your point pools, and then using them quickly in the game. And I think that leads to engagement in a different way than dice do. Dice is always you're sitting there and you are hoping your character does a cool thing. In this, you kind of know I want to do a cool thing now, but that means I'm using my points for whatever I want to do. So I will have to take a kind of a backseat next time because I want to have points. But that then only means another character can have a cool moment because they still have points. So this facilitates that shit goes around the table. Because in Shadowrun, name drop, I can make a character that's competent in like 3/4 of all situations.
Yep.
And then I will have more screen time due to me being able to do more things than a character is specialized. And if I'm about screen time as a player, then that is cool for me. It's also potentially bad for other players because they wanted to do something. But in this, because there isn't a dice mechanic where I can be like, oh, I luckily rolled a 6, so I managed to do the thing I want to do, even though I didn't spend any points. Haha. You don't run into that problem, and it works perfectly for that reason. The only way it can break down is if the DM lets a scene drag on to a point where no one has points left, and then there's still a problem.
Yeah.
That is the main thing as a DM you have to look out for in this. that you kind of keep track of everyone's stuff. However, since you can, for example, what I would do in this is have poker chips.
Oh yeah.
Different colors
Visual.
for different things. So I can easily look at the table and be like, okay, player 1 has 3 wonder left, player 2 has 8, player 3 has none. So if player 2 does a big thing, it's about time I wrap this scene up and we go to the next scene, because otherwise no one can use the power anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
that's exactly why basing everything around the scene is very strong with a game like this, because the mechanics work with it.
Yep.
Again, compared to White Wolf games, you don't have that many mechanics that connect with it. So, like, you can say, oh, my blood power lasted for the scene, but that didn't necessarily mean that somebody will get their time to shine in the next scene. It just means that your power ended this scene. That's it.
Yep. And then that's not really shade on that game, because that game is juggles a lot more balls than this one. But
it does.
It works and works well. And this is, in my opinion, also a very good way to do diceless, because you do limit your players and you do have them make meaningful choices about what they do. Yeah. Because some diceless games will be like, yeah, you can just do shit, just go. Like, and not really give you a reason to ever stop and consider your options, so to speak. And that's kind of where those games tend to fail for me, is those moments where it's like, yeah, but I can just bash my head against the wall forever and it's eventually going to work.
Having it set up this way where you're basically bidding, like, okay, well, the difficulty is 5. Well, I need to bid 3 feelings to make sure I do this. There's a lot more actual choice for the player.
True.
Versus a D20 system where you're just going to say, yeah, I'll just try anyway. There's not really a choice there. You're just going to try no matter what.
Yeah. It is actually a lot harder to make your player not do something they want to do in D&D than here. And then, by this I don't mean you should keep your players from doing what they want. Of course, that's not the point. The point is different. The point is, because of the mechanics being as they are, as long as the player has a cool moment doing his shit, they won't feel too badly about them not being able to do a cool moment again right away, just because they had another idea. So long as another party member can pick up the slack, it's going to be fine.
Yep.
And
as long as somebody else has points.
Yeah. And since it's like, yes, your feelings always allow you to buff up a thing to make it. And the DM can always be like, okay, I see player A, 1 point left. Not really a concern for me. Player 2, 2 points left. Player 3, 10 points left. So if I give these players a 7 to do, only player 3 can do it. So I can even force, in that moment, player 3 to do something. And that can, of course, fail if they don't have a good idea. But if you, like, for example, allow them to discuss it at the table, what you can do, it will probably work out. And then also, like, the good outcome here is that player 3 actually has a good idea, and then a character can solve a thing in an unexpected way that you didn't even, like, plan for, or surprise everyone at the table with what they are doing. And that is good. That is perfect. I like it. Short answer. I also find it hard. Also, I think the flow in this, again, it works. Because you constantly get these points, you constantly give people, like, points. It fosters a play together mentality, unless people at the table already didn't like each other when they started. Were like, I am never giving Steve dreams. What do you mean? I hate Steve. Then, yeah, you weren't meant to play this in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's my verdict here, and the main thing. And just again, the power of this book also, just basically most of this art just coming from the same artist.
Yes.
And being very, very consistent and good helps the book as well. This is using art super effectively.
We've commented on that before, where like if you have a consistent art flow, it really adds a lot to what you're trying to get across. Like this scene's perfect
Yeah.
because for so many people this evokes My Neighbor Totoro, but
Yes.
the characters in it are different and the style is different.
I also like that you can basically play a little bit of hide and seek here because you see her, and you notice the raccoon dog, and then you might notice the cat, or actually might not, because it kind of blends in the background because there's these dark patches here. That could be a dark patch. It isn't, but yeah, it's really good. Well done. Yes, the mermaid is hecking cute. I agree.
Oh, yes. The mermaid's so good.
Yeah. Was it in this book? It was in the second one, right?
It was in the second one.
Yeah. That's the pony. I guess, real talk. I'm not sure I would allow pony because it feels weird, but maybe they're on
Pony is a little weird.
I would have to read it to be like, okay, I allowed this is fine or not. I didn't expect them to straight up My Little Pony this.
Yeah.
But yeah, cute fish. Very cute fish.
Yeah, the fish has lots of mythological precedents that it works into the powers right away.
Just again, the wish one is really good, like a real wish, but only for someone else.
Yes.
Yes, the wish thing. It's in here.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. But you're also tasty if you can grant wishes, because then you're more likely to get caught. It's just they within what they were doing, it works super well.
It works so good. Yeah.
I suspect no would like to pepperoni. I don't know because it isn't a pone. It's a My Little Pony.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit.
I'm not sure I'm into this, but I would have to read it. I'm not going to read it on screen right now. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is legit one of those which I might actually want to run eventually or play in.
This
probably more play in because I think it would be so fun.
Oh yeah, it would be so fun. This also is one of those where it's like more so than most things that we've looked at. We talk about beer and pretzels. This is one of those where you could do that also, but like this feels like something where people would be like, but I want to know what happens in the next story with my little fish dude.
Exactly. The fish dude.
Fish dude. The little
fishy. Yeah. And yeah, again, the art top-notch stuff in there. It's what you need. Like, I struggle. The game tells right away that you won't be dealing with money, you won't deal with stuff. Like, this is the scope. And so there isn't more you can even publish for this. It could be, they could just go by country and put different classes out. That's what they could be doing. Just looking through the art, these spirits vibing together. This is one of those Tanuki parties. Oh, no, right? No, not Tanuki. Rabbit spirit parties. You have the mountain god, and then a Kappa is here, and one of these face guys. I don't know what they're called. And it's just, yeah. Oh, look, it's even the wait. Is this the one? It is, I think it is exactly the one that people, a player talked about this. So I think this might actually be the story. Oh, they might have just used this.
Yeah.
They might have just used this one-to-one. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. Again, it works. And the little niggle about, okay, how do we make sure people don't have 59 points right off the bat, because they have so many people they know? Well, only people who appear in the story that we are playing can be activated. So you always start your first scene only having your other players here and the town. And then you might add one or two people from the threads back in. And from then on, once you meet them, and once they're in the story, they actually give you the points, but not to start. And that works. It's just genius, honestly. Like, it's a good system.
It's a really good system. Like, For the more complicated narrative games that have like a chronicle that goes on forever, etc. There's more stuff like this should be done. Like seriously.
And lastly, but not least, also a very good game to like switch characters in if you feel like playing something else. Very easy. Like you can make a character in this in literally 5 minutes if you know the thing, and like 15 if you need to read the thing you're interested in. Because it's like literally put 4 numbers here, write 6 things down, write up to 6 more things down, write 4 things here or about, write 4 things here, done. No point has math. Good job. That's
yeah. You make a really good point, because that's always the thing that people tell me. Well, I'm tired. I don't really want to do math.
Yeah,
that's cool. You don't have to in this game, really.
Yeah, you can't even. There's no math.
Yeah.
The only math is, okay, I need 10 points. I have 2 points. How many points do I need? If you can't do that math, I'm sorry, role playing is not for you.
Yeah,
Simple addition must be on the table.
Yeah, that does.
I think I'd be super interesting to just get people into building a better home base. Also true, like Carbon, yeah, exactly. Again, because the lady in the convenience store is going to reappear constantly, because we want our fried tofu and our sweets and shit, and so we're going to go there, and she's going to really like the fox build because the fox build pays with actual money. But she's going to hate the Tanuki who pays with leaves, and it's going to be a rivalry. At the same time, that guy is such a lovable scamp that you just can't help but like not be too miffed if they steal a little snack. And that's the story. Fuck yeah.
Yes. And it writes itself, and the best games write themselves very quickly.
Yeah. And then imagine Bruce drawing your true form, your beast form.
See?
The Bruce guy.
Yeah. Bruce.
Just a circle with 3 things sticking out. Very evocative. Rombat, yes. Anyway, I think I talked enough about this, because I think this is is just cool. We are gonna soon rate the Kara, as I said, because I'm be on there in 20 minutes or 15 minutes to play Tabletop in Terrorist Town. But I really need to go to the toilet before. Yes, the Kara.
The Kara.
Which is why I'm thinking we're gonna rate now. But before we do that, though, again, Trek, we will both play this. Is there a favorite thing you have in this?
All right. My favorite thing in all of this is the Tanuki. Okay, I should have a more serious answer than that. My favorite thing in all of this is the fact, like, when they set up the character sheets, like the little profiles where, okay, here's Fox, here's Raccoon Dog, here's Cat. When they do that, and they have the central image, and they have everything revolving around it, that is so strong.
Yep.
So strong.
Yep.
The problem with a lot of games these days is that they don't do that. They give you like a title thing of like, I don't know, Gangrel. And then you have to read 2 columns of text. I get that you want to do that. You can have another section that does that. And they actually do that in this game, where there is another section where they do that. But if you can have your idea, your splat, your class, your race, your clan, your whatever, in a storytelling type of game like this, where you just have a central image, and then you're just like, this is all the stuff that revolves around this character concept. If you can do that visually, you've won.
Yep.
You've just won. And this game does it so well. So well. It's one of those visual aids that, like, people think we want to read lots of text and we want to do this and that and the other thing. That's great. But if you do it that way instead, even for the pony, which is out of place, it does something to your brain, because it makes you think all these things revolve around this central image.
Yes, exactly. I think my favorite thing about this book has to be that it taught me the dice actually can work, because the games I'd read with dice before I didn't like.
Yeah, like Amber. Amber wasn't really that great.
I can be a brony in this game. You can be a brony in this game. Yes. Sanat, I have not forgotten your compliment. Don't worry. No, I was gonna just wrap up. I was starting to wrap up. I was not rating right now. Sandat, I think you are a lovely ant, and you keep trying super hard at everything you do, and that is great. And you need to not overdo it sometimes. But if you do, you're doing it to help others. So that's still a good feature of yours. So good job. There you go. Drake, what do we do next time?
God, it's been a hard choice because we've talked about a lot of things. We've just been like, we haven't done a 3D6 system yet. We haven't. There's Worm that I keep bringing up. So I think we're going to do the Expanse RPG next time.
Ooh, okay, I'm into it.
Yes. I will also bring the game system that it's technically based on as well, because there's a generic form of it. But I will mainly just go through the Expanse RPG, because the whole point is can they actually simulate like actual real physics in a game and do the storytelling that goes with it well? So
I'm curious, and I'm into Expanse, so Genesis still on the list. Yeah, we have, the list is long and full of terrors. No, I'm not saying this is bad, by the way. I do not know much about it. I just know I have some real stinkers that I wrote down as possibilities for the future. But we can't always do stinkers. So this we did a few nice ones recently.
Yeah, did do a few nice ones. This might be a little stinky because it's 3D6, but I'll let you read it.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, we're rating Cara Destia now, who's doing a charity thing for oh god, I forgot the charity again. I said it earlier in the stream. It is supposed to help people who have sexual abuse. It is on there in the info. You will see. I'm on there in, at this point, 12 minutes to play Robin Terrorist down. But I'm rating now because I really need to go to the toilet before then. So I will see you over there in 10 minutes. Drake, do you have anything to plug?
Oh yeah, my birthday's Monday. I'm going to stream a whole bunch.
Hell yeah. I'm not sure if I am planned in for that, but I could jump in maybe.
Yeah.
Except I have the thing with Toki on Monday. But maybe after or before I could jump in. You just tell me. And if not, then not. It's fine. I'm gonna watch anyway.
Exactly.
Let's do this raid. Oh yeah, next time, of course, in 2 weeks as usual. It's on Drake's channel. Picks the game also hosts the show. Yep. So look forward to that there. But yeah, I talked enough. I really need to pee, so I will just click the red button. Have a good one, folks. Drake, thank you again. Thank you everyone for watching. See you soon or in 10 minutes. Bye.